Achigo the mama so on pass antimaye or nyas antibanquano, and what before Namano tia former head of state. Achigo didn't bring another Danko Kufuado support the Senegal of Funina. Castle be game and no kind on fan chemi. Demi Moya, where's that me baby do what them in the credit man can't chance as Rami did. Papa said, I can't credit as I did what if they had your mamma in my form. If that your mamma is far better than Wokufuado. All right, Mate. And then my your mamma 1 year Wokufuado now. Osifa kwa no dana na nusu with ba nyimukota
interchange ba kope nanado dankwa Akufo-Addo forward say the government of Ira John Dramani Mahama abenso ana wonum say one mo ba behwe na wonum adidwumadi ama no aye kama but then the NDC government program or more policies bebre. One of these programs are now or more the big push program. Now the big push program, no, ladies and gentlemen, program will be almost say Omobabe injected $10 billion into our infrastructure, into being education, being roads, being the energy sector. Omobabe injected an amount of $10 billion US, and a pushy infrastructure. Ama Ghana and so in Kankrono, aye kama. Enumu anana womuso mu disikani bi eba beye the swami interchange no na a connected womo call offense so e de kotechima a connected wona wo be si sofula e de akwa ebuakwa wona wo ko Cape Coast no e betima connected ama accessing the road no aye very easy. Now in a conversation yankasi ra the Rose Minister. So in a conversation Anna the Rose Minister Honorable Kwame Aboji eka say no fancy no sikeni ho kra enti no road na won mo eba be ya na say interchange no mo ba be e wo swame no this time around a movie every 4th year at the about 2 tier.
The previous government awarded a project called the Swami Interchange. Yeah, it was a loan agreement, and because of our debt situation, the contractor can't draw down. Okay, and the contractor is struggling on the site. What we want to do is to work to complete a number of the levels. We are told that if we complete the first two levels, for now, it will address significantly the traffic situation, whilst we think of doing the rest in the future when we raise the money. So those who are asking why are we not doing the 4, it's simply because we don't have the money, because currently the contractor hasn't got any money at all to do anything. I think it's better to do something about it rather than waiting until we find the loan to do that. And then when you get to Sunyani, the previous NDC government attempted building.
Now, mind you, 40 no, I was so cry, 2-tier interchange. No. And na Ghana for say, there be the people of Kumasi say there be 2-tier there. Now I say, what is one about from crowd? Anna the Ashanti caucus what parliament. Of course, you say you Tafo Honorable Vincent or Hobby, sounds na Yura as a Subwacho, a former Rose Minister. On also Hobby, together with some people in the parliament or forming Ashanti caucus almost in a press conference addressing the people of Ghana and of course the certain government. He said no, you can't secure funding that. So there is absolutely no way say a better say ama that Swami interchange yata so at the every 4th year at the about 2 tier. We understand not just say wama and yoma aba from kra no ama the face of that entire project wama no aba from yes and an aba temporary and a permanent solution to the people of Ashanti region and also more patronize that road on yes and some conquerors video no.
Want to deal with why Kumasi deserve better. Kumasi, as you all know, is Ghana's second largest city, serves as a strategic national transit hub, transportation modal hub, continues to experience rapid growth in population and vehicle ownership. Short-changing Kumasi on a project of this scale is technically indefensible, economically unwise, and politically unjust. In conclusion, we want to emphasize that the Swami Interchange project was conceived as a long-term solution, not a short-term compromise. The Ashanti Caucus of Parliament therefore calls on government to restore the original 4th-tier design of the Swami Interchange project, reprioritize funding to complete the project as designed and planned, and engage transparently with Parliament and the people of Kumasi and Ashanti region in general on the way forward. Kumasi deserves infrastructure that reflects its national importance, not have solutions justified by selective constraints. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for your attention.
Now, after this particular press conference, the Honorable Rose Minister, SRB, in another press conference, addressing this issue. Now, they're all coming and say, any two-tier interchange. Say, as I saw about three-tier interchange. And you know, initially, I said two-tier interchange, a three-tier interchange. Now, more researcher, my said three-tier interchange, you know, for now. The people of Ashanti region, any or more people patronize that particular route in address traffic situation for now. Na economy no say government no it me raise additional funds biana na wonum ahwe ababe ye the rest of the project. Yen sanso konkotie eno enfamra.
Zavi sinen kan show. Zavi was bra no su fi ma obi su fi ne kama unya problem. Bra na yin su fi ye o si adan for no sika no a.
Indeed, this modification offers better value for money to the people of Kumasi, and we must be commended, not chastised.
Now, after sa back and forth in akosono, ana yenim abrantia bakwa omayemu, he's very popular. He's a friend to the certain government. He's a son, the unofficial son to the president. Otrena agene internet and also social media and also Yura Apia Stadium. And some nana ekobano na enyanede into phone. Afraid the former Rose Minister, Honorable Asenso Boache. Now, afraid no command now one aiding and say, no, no, anyone say the Honorable Asenso Boache, it's many could draw or parliament, and the colleagues are or more formed the Ashanti caucus. No, it's me. I can't say and some no more kind about interchanging our urban because munya more time, more intimate. This time around, Obisu wa ye name fancy ni ho, but opeso ye into what say, and also the free 4, and about 2, and answer 3. I don't know come one to no one ye, not the people of Ashanti region no more, or more easy road in nano, one of whom enter warm. And no, Anna Apia Stadium, Eko can say, even on one former president, Nanado Dankwa Kufadwa, or Tinabe Bianu Tunku, Nasabi, who's a former fancham, and I know a soon so. Nina Oka and Wasam Yen na yen conquer asama Yura Pia Stadium Efre Asansu watch okay.
Why dear? Why you said yeah, I win. It is and I'm just what also what to be bisa makana also bisa za way day. If that the media make can be asansu fancho. Oh that be when you say be I will stop me fire make it come out actually. Go ahead. Make it come out just asansu ya oh ya ni amon wa memu ne kure. Oh yeah, kwala so the right person as okay if there any that be more ya we say me ba be di watem ne kwere man kan cha sense so na me did papa say me be kan kwere say be say di watem say oh yeah the joma ma ni my form if the joma ma fa better than wokufu ado no all right mate and then my joma ma 1 year wokufu ado na o sifa kwa no oda na no so so we ba nyim kota tell you the fact oh yeah ni amon wa sense so me kan kire aye me bo ma dua kire pa ma wa o tie oyem be show asan so wo ya dia mamu na mbubu ya wo nya kwan fa camera so anim e be kika se joma ma ache idiot udwane
abusafo eno na eda ho no obi beka say there is fire on the mountain we na Ghana 14 na Ghana for say debi Apia Stadium we there okay kan wonsem Ghana for ye pewasem NPP for pewasem NDC for pewasem the people of Ashanti region ye pewasem but we there we ni atra we ni nton and some now okay no wa nya de kra na eho ana Apia Stadium exclusively otena say or address this issue what in chechiremu de ntia o kan nsem no ene ho achew panyina or the Ghana for and also ana otwagu yen konkohwemra
yeah from Apia Stadium and Wednesday and no asenso boache o former road minister Bantuma MP abe fa camera sire ni makika nsem bi about president Mahama na ban say obompe Asante man koso ono be road minister Swami interchange Swami kori nyina saso boachi abedwi woni NPP aban abedwi egu omantimi anye president Mahama ye askwa to the car runabout osadi fi the car runabout to kopie anwan kwanta and in NPP are buying a tree left and right in your manco for a good thing. As a super change demand share, obey a road with some more when to be a more santimine. I'm going to new president Mamma and some of the can mammy at the before fray on the phone. So Nanyas and so I'm a friend, no, I'm a make some of it come at as some of me king, maybe Cassa wet a chopper. Former President Nana Danko Kufuor redeemed them. Now, as I saw some of the a year bufu sempa. Omo mom na ama santemai. Se krobia santi kotokwa hine MPP for Joe when say omo mom na ye omo dono. Kotokwa hine kona nana muncha gogunsa obrema ye. And them say as I saw watching MPP about G. Mezi kwani nyina me futua kwani ye de ye wure kwa gogunsa kura. Ye didn't know to na ko pie brema. Eti President Mama was feeling Ghana near Santimahu or do something. Oba be ya senso si etwaso 4 ana President Mama ayi abusana twaso interchange so mienu awa to agu na idi President Mama ye run about to kura no anya any futuro na something
abusan fa na sekese ema kwesi AI abusan me ni kwesi AI ho adanse kakra emfa show yakom wasem da but let me take time and explain them to you kwesi app bi abama Ghana
Taibu la sisi mesa sa gibre na hu manim ache enkomo ofie na mede ebrel amanebo amede nam ne eye miero de edikan ono abo Kennedy Kwame Akompre Japan e de atodwa se amantem dunsia ne nyina no wo ba be set up factories e de amagana fo empenin se abo anwanse na onihwe no oposa ne nsem wo ye na adwe so be Ghana mampeni wa biebie nwuma no e magana mabuna nya biaye na se wa mele Ghana mampeni a de na ho de beso no wo se opese wo ye na nimanimu ya na emabu no agu abonte mu ne adwuma ne edoso de etoso mieso eno eye Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia enne oye NPP ye Frank Akurani no ete ho a woje enchia na empanifo bi ekopie ne naso a waje microphone an wo kan sem se enam se ne ye ba bekọ NPP primaries no enipa bi kwampo a na omu free Asante Mantemu ano ebepe Asante Mantemu efree na ebusa de Dr. Bawumia wo ya Asanteni enne wo be kire manfo a omu free Asante Mantemu no omu free a ensem wei afobri na ma na no pa wi anwumre me de ba be so mo se akwanso sem se hu manim acha a me krete kona me nko ba bia afe na me ba be soja no edi asu omo so omo free se e bia shaibula sisi no me no omo atemu me be kaja agum me twam ho aba me ba enkomo bebri e wo fie
but na sade na etie no na ye nipa enum na ye pie ye nipa enum ye nyina na obia so na nida Asante so eyesa na obia ne nida Asante so ebi mu ka say omufiri Asante by force eyesa omuso omufiri ho ebi mu so ye tete me ha eyesa members of parliament wo hona bibia na obia ka but na obia so nim se media me Asante ni Asante hene ne ba preocupe enyesa enti more seriously that's the economy na ehuhu ye hu kakra but na ye nim se de ebeko Asante region no na ohwe obi anini edaso ye hwe se de ye be ye no chairman no
abra me fa nchia sonko e ma ya hwefo ene atiefo mo ebre ne bre bia no mo nya ho ehwe no enchia sonko enkoma mo menchia ma de nyina papaya na menchia me maame Christian Japan any honorable Kennedy Kwame Akompre Japan menua ba Faustina ana afi so da akonta ana sister Fia Frimpoma of Canada any ahwefo nyina no ebre ko beje bre na mabomu nyina mudin na enkomo bebre ewofie ye ba bedi nkomo aftermath of the new patriotic primaries na ekoye no meka se be na wotwe ene enakake na Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia wono ana emerge as winner na me ba bedi hu nkomo kakra e de achew na afese ensensem so a ene nanamu ana afese no anamo a honorable Ken wo tu no me ba abedi hu nkomo na yen free asam na ase honorable Kennedy Kwame Akompre Japan ebra no obo ntoa kan che party delegates se wono wo ba no oba be bie nnwuma e ma Ghana fo anya adwuma ye wo se ewiase nipa wani monyam ene wadwuma oye oba na oni adwuma ukunu emu o makra mpo no ani die se fata mo mfa ma na ye be ma kwa de bobo wo chance ne ye pia na tenten ti se de ato table so ento ne wo ba e de industries e de aba oba de factories aba e ma Ghana mabunu anya biaye Honorable Ken eton sa message we e ma ne to Ghana fo nyina atim ewi achi no na Ghana fo na omukon endo politics omukon be do politics because of a certain Kende Agyapong omo free say kwan your person or the Ghana efa no the way ye betimi agye ye ho ade free sabi ye say independent bastard I that so it depending on emnofo no chance mu ye kwato aba 31st of January 2026 no na NPP delegate sabi ebi mu adamo ne honhom etom ebi mu sabi subanpa eni omo say omo de omo mpe adwuma ya afebon na emom no omo pe 1000 cedis 2500 sika omo tafre alewa edi twi omo tache maso eno no wagina che kwa akoto aba en omo koto aba wie yem Ghana for so ama NPP delegate ati ase say eyo opposition no ma renew no eyo opposition no ma menka say oma extend no so a vote against Kende Agyapong during the NPP primaries it's just like say you've just extended opposition na about 20 mu wie no yenya nipa bia omo be kire die nti a omo campaign ye edema Honorable Ken ema NPP for Kende Agyapong ho ye omo hi for NDC for Kevin Taylor project Honorable Ken NDC for na project Honorable Ken said the NPP delegate beka so onyamo na mbe yi candidate amaye ewi achen na fidie we ye omo sumie no na NPP delegate akwa akotom na the MP for Adansia Krofo kwa babonte de babetu dwa say with Kende Agyapong no na eye den e de mo in 2028 but Dr. Baume de eye cool chop 77 peduasa say a show 10 naira onko fa player wato apache emfa no konko face omo ana e de nam na Honorable Ken ne nsama no woka no enam say oyo obi a oye talk na du ntino Honorable Ken said ye na obetim de oman sikaye obetim de oman tumi aye no se saade no kwa amamu a wono no kan say se nyame ma ne nkwa ma ne di 70 years a obe bro factories na guo me no ka say Honorable Ken the only the biggest coal store in Africa, the most advanced and sophisticated steel plant in West Africa is being owned by a Ghanaian person. That is Honorable Ken Kwame Akumpa Agyapong. We acquired 30,000 of land, 30,000 acres of land at Wadakru, and another 30,000 of land, another one so at Adidome, and our 156,000 acres of land and so Wajin and so was Sige or Babe cherry tomato in the account. And now call Central Region or Czech so yeah, Babe see the largest pharmaceutical industry in West Africa. And no maku numa yem producing in West Africa, in Africa, no, yeah, Babe produce Ghana, yet being owned and also partnership by Honorable Ken Kwame Akumpa Agyapong. Now, Honorable Ken said, Oba Abe started with 16 factories across all the 16 regions. Mantem biabenya one factory. Na itima boa e de pushi Ghana mabuna omuni adwumaye ma dodo na adwumaye. Na Honorable Ken factory so Oba be bie no. Edi ana eka e de ache Ghana for, edi na eka ache youth for, edi na eka ache politician for one. De eka ache Ghanaian youth ni sem. Wo ye Ghanaian youth ani da so e ba se papa bi e fa ne Kende Agyapong e ba be bie benwuma amonya biaye. Ade a eka ache politicians ne ene sem. One, all politicians are not the same. Politician bi wo ha wo se me paade we, se me saka meye we, ne nsakra kampa wonye ba Kende Agyapong se ne nsakra mpo anka no eya de obeye e de ama Ghanaian youth no and to okwa de obetima ye oye e de ama Ghana youth. Ana de e kan che Ghana for sem. Wo ye Ghana ni a nyagidie se Ghana no with a certain leader like Kende Agyapong no ebeye and to da no abompa se Nyankopon ye pese Kende Agyapong be Ghana mampani e kwanya Kende Agyapong be fa so be Ghana mampani ye nhwe ho de enima se Kende Agyapong e ye Ghana mampani and to ye Ghana ni a o koda abompa se Nyankopon ma Kende Agyapong be Ghana mampani e kwanya Kende Agyapong be fa so be Ghana mampani ye nhwe ho se MPP na de ne bebo se hwan na de ne bebo se CPP se PNCO se hwan yo but meme wo gidie se Kende Agyapong still lead MPP and become Ghana's president na eniema pa MPP ba bia na ye timi de ban Kende Agyapong e de fa kese e de aba na mame ka che na adan kwakufu ade se Nyankopon nhira no nyame ntua ne ka se na adwuma sitie sa kokura bone wo utifie na fa phone e fro appointee se me anto aba ma Kende Japan anum kasa nye de o ka che wa point say Kende Japan e be president ya won use appoint president Kufuado se Kende Japan anum kasa nye da Kende Japan man ne ohun ni Ghana e tanya Kende Japan nya ni nyane eye say no different no Kufuado sa tam no na obusuafo guy bo che da akom asante bedi atuom ene onam fufuo mu nyina say wo onye ni papa honorable Ken o kan say manfo asore atiawa ono obe supporto na honorable Ken etanya wonya between kofo camp ene wo na nado camp result na nado wo na wiase sika enye bibia sika enye bia na nyankopon ka obegu anim ase hwe president Kufuado hwe gwata de akwot na fie hwe Ghana for are not even proud say if we had a certain former president Efena Kufuado nyame ama Mahama wrongs our year no nyame ama an opportunity to come and rewrite it well who Kufuado who nyasa opportunity that now you will go down as the worst president Ghana has ever produced who Kufuado kwa ana ultimate time omansika more than 51 million Ghana cedis ekotu amena South Bay National Cathedral Kufuado wadwuma no who Kufuado kwa ana Ashanti region to over 1.8 million man now be try 80 wanya hwe in Ashanti region wo yere Rebecca Kufuado kwampona wono no anya president kwampona ebesi Becca Foundation conference ya Rebecca Kufuado should tell me adia Ashanti region Rebecca na ko tell fie say ana me anto awoma Kende Japan ya anto amano the open Fredjuna Sanefa Nanti akokura bone na obi ehun so na ya akokura bone me say President Kufuado ade o de Kende Japan ma say Nebukadnezar ene Kufuado Nebukadnezar ene Kufuado Nebukadnezar mu promo ene Kufuado na mane Kende Japan nya e bi efre Kufuado they say our former president you know why pe esi ano you know why pe onya president ena mom so me say na we en so hwe kese hwe de obeya Ghana obefa dollar from 4 cedis to 70 wo no ba wumia ene Mahama mo so wasana hwe de oye dollar hwe de oye dollar de wasana dwanfunu no hwe de oye dollar ana odwan ya ote ma dollar to 17 na me papa Kende Japan sa me tunufo na so betie me mafutuo ebi ono omfa madwenche ebi omfa na meka cho honorable Ken say factory say obebe NPP delegate ai na nim hancho ebegina wo say opadwuma ya ka che ne say he chose D-Day money over jobs and Ghana for na omno trust wo Kende Japan ye fa adwuma ne ma om aye meme shaibula sisi mafutu aye me akade mbere ba menye Kende Japan on the other party no on the Kende Japan do party ni chance party ni do no to be call to understand say ne mass school fees or be topic am e dey ma NPP e be wi a NPP for Kende Japan e ni paboni ni ti factory say be bia ide ka pa ma me ko head ba ko na ma me mfa adwumayefo no because me hweb message honorable Ken no de nam ene de na ba omi ade nam abo oni dua nyame ne pra no na abo oni dua e fragbera abu shafa fe de yenko the topic of the day Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Boymesia na ye poyempo woni NPP Franka Kurani omo se nyina ye campaign man ye be campaign so amana baba we ne Ghana man paninu ejibere na Dr. Baumia ye ko campaign me ka chia mo se boni bia ekoso NPP mu bia no se abronye di Kende Japan ko ka di Kende Japan atem Baumia na fragbara ninti e na wode niema ekatakata niam se meboa okọ ni krom eko use ni krom kasa e kan se sticker e ya danko o rabbit oh ene ya anti ana Kende Japan ne kasa ana koka mu edi atem no mo apo mu ni atem nyese ni ato aba na wie ana o ye fragbera na Dr. Baumia nko na 2023 onya 61% na 2026 onya 56% was 56 no eso che 61 no Dr. Baumia nko na dollar sa okwa fa no 1 cedi e de ko 4 cedi sa wa bon Now for the 4 series and the cost 17 series there. Oh yeah, dear. Ano nam and a man for bar. I wo share 56% now. A switch of 61 now region be a constituency be a to naba mame. Ano de nama. And a see and see a campaign. Did the one number and so I know about one woman organizers, Mama Chame, nearby, youth organizer, no Mama Chan, and on my church and Sabati and Nebia, the month of the year of 2026, you know, because we are disabled for the Quaco channel, we are Nebia, almost Nasara for Aqua channel, we are swa NDC for swa, almost chess on my converse about what chat, Tisana 2026 year, not 2027 after on and I'm accused of force, then I'm about some fears also. Na for the year 2028 na atako na so obawe na ware no obawe so anu ware ana group bi ekwa chia om ana Dr. Baumia say ono beji microphone akasa e ho Dr. Baumia e ba be che say wo hwe the vote onyan na Ashanti region na ebo na adwene ntiase so na ye ba be kɔ no na emanfo bi say wo mo na wo ye Asante fom so Asante mantem ebi kwa because of elections no on ma pre-free Ashanti region ebi kwa so e kire se na omo ti Ashanti region na se akutia ani niwa mame kan sem cho omo na omo so free Ashanti region aduchum free Ashanti region dia no say one free Ashanti region so yetiti Ashanti region no e ken de Agyapong ana de obepe ha free so e ban na champion o kan so free offense so ai nim so free kwawu ana ondam ana o kan sansem no na dia me pesa munya musua de wal say Dr. Baumia on se sign ya to abawie frag bed also can party bom no wonam and now casting insinuations against opponent at this point here na Dr. Baumia onye politician obegu NPP say Dr. Baumia ye politician pa mo sorry ana we yakwachi Baumia kan Agyapong ko ho kan Jimmy phone ti say box iron we enene one nam ho welcome people into Dr. Baumia house. Koka timi didi kan Agyapong atem. Na kan Agyapong enko Baumia fie. Na koka we na me welcome no. Is it good? Sir Dr. Baumia so do NPP a one person come aboard so pen ba bi ntina. So that people are koka church o na so can have good heart to campaign for Dr. Baumia. And Dr. Baumia na mo sad no. Na o ma start idea bi. No man we ya Adam me can say me say top down approach no no ebia the purpose say am the buy no mo benya ebi some you end up doing something west and the west is yet to happen tie Dr. Baumia te ho ana chama wuntumi ne campaign man no chama wuntumi kwa cha Dr. Baumia say chairman national chairman Dr. Baumia has chosen wuntumi to lead the NPP national. And now call constituency regions now. Oba Ashanti region group be a press conference. Omni Dr. Baumia and a call Nakana. Omni Dr. Baumia by a frabella. Until Dr. Baumia call for chairman Kokofu, former Bantuma chairman, former NPP member of parliament for Bantuma. Now Onumbra make by coalition, no win as the Ashanti region NPP chairman. Woman me fight against Coca. Now I want to sound this warning. I want to advise Dr. Baumia and the campaign and say, Coca in Ashanti region was an institution. Coca in Ashanti region is an institution. At say education ministry, works and housing, health, defense. When you touch it, you touch Ashanti region. Now, Dr. Baumia percent in numbers in 2028 and drop pa one kofa kokofuni so ombabe contest Coca. Omusa chama would be brow brilliance and the third time or win. Okota money making machine. Bullion van be see park so. Voice on the BT Coca. Near to about you, Marco press conference. Say, Mode, Chama Kokofu. No, kwa Bantman is in say. Okwa moto abetiano. Also pe general secretary bi adi. Mo man nkwa. Mo kwa ka say ye de ne ba Ashanti region. Na meti asem ba bia me wira ho we ne say. Om say Chairman Kokofu e ba betoa wuntumi ene pass wuntumi ne pa ba no ye na Ashanti mantem. Ene pa ba. Chama wuntumi ne pa be no na Ashanti region. Say wuntumi be ma Ashanti region votes from 70% about 64% aya ne pa. Wuntumi nti Ashanti region NPP new office aya ne pa. Wuntumi at the Ashanti regional chairmanship office no atwitwi from the first time a sitting chairman of a political party in Ashanti region ya twa boss Iroko BNI court where nepa I am at waso in Ashanti region na national hold them I will meet Wuntumi there now kwaka na omodo omosa hoka no and the person omoti asese na Dr. Bawumia ade na ebo wachi na so de ebo yira nim susu na wo de ho be wura an internal elections so and now what the flag no the party for share nim say wo betuma we ne power in 2028 ade Akufo-Addo year 2007 2018 na wo ye bi no mintimi no we nya adwuma anamunkotu we and now ukwa adwuma we be just south secretary so ye adwuma edema kende Japan entino yan konkotu nam say ewurade Nyankopon kwatani a okwa yi o se me kwa menchia o kwaro wo nchia na obi ato be chia dia mu ye 2028 dia mu ye 2028 yo na Dr. Bawumia office omo boa wa mo munya yodum na akwa 2028 se ba ko ye 38.2 ubenye 28.2 na se MPP ye be mo aben MPP ho a uni MPP fo ho busa de omo de adubu ahe na ado na wo ye wo se wo ifjun sabi onye nyame Rollins mo ko me fa o man etran so soja bible so o ka obi nka bi o mo jaga na okọ na nya wo democrat na etimi ka bi kire wo enti anamo Dr. Bawumia tunu clearly chese ono on unity now on unity so you cannot win power without unity and the team we support Ken where you support Brian and ye kwa candidates you go and give them candidates by 2028 we will also give you a showdown Abuja for me the shy will assist we share out from Meno kase Honorable Ken only the biggest coal store in Africa, the most advanced and sophisticated steel plant in West Africa is being owned by a Ghanaian person. That is Honorable Ken Kwame Ajaapong. We acquired 30,000 acres of land at Wadakru and another 30,000 of land. Another one so at Adidome. And our 156,000 acres of land and so wajin and so was sege or babe cherry tomato in the account. And now call Central Region or check so yeah babe see the largest pharmaceutical industry in West Africa. And no maku numa yem producing in West Africa in Africa no yeah babe produce Ghana yet being owned and also partnership by Honorable Ken Kwame Ajaapong. Now, Honorable Ken said, Oba Abe started with 16 factories across all the 16 regions. Mantem biabenya 1 factory. Na itimia boa edia pushi Ghana mabuna omuni adwumaye ma dodona nya adwumaye. Wo ye Ghana ni a nya gidie se Ghana no with a certain leader like Ken Ajaapong no ebeye. Enti wo da no abompa se Nyankopon ye pese Ken Ajaapong be Ghana mampeni. Ekwanya Ken Ajaapong be fa so be Ghana mampeni ye nhwe ho.
Enipa nyina na obia so ne nida. Asante so. Yes na obia ne nida. Asante so. Ebi mo ka say omufiri Asante by force. Yes
Dr. Bawumia ye akọ campaign me ka kire mo say boni bia akọ so MPP mu bia no sa abronye di Ken Ajaapong ko ka di Ken Ajaapong atem Bawumia na flag bearer ni nti e na wode niema ekata nyam se meboa okọ ni krom use ni krom kasa ka say steka ayadanko oye rabbit na Dr. Bawumia nko na 2023 onya 61% na 2026 onya 56% was 56 no eso che 61 no Dr. Bawumia nko na dollar sa ukofa no 1 cedi e de ko 4 cedis a wabon na for the 4 cedis e de ko 17 cedis dia oya ade ya to abawie flag bearer also ka party bom no wonam and now cast insinuations against opponents. Adia when at this point na Dr. Bawumia onye politician obegu MPP. Say Dr. Bawumia ye politician pa. Mo sorry a ana we yakwachi Bawumia Ken Ajaapong ko kan Jimmy phone ti say box iron we enene wona ednam ho welcome people into Dr. Bawumia house. Koka timi didi Ken Ajaapong atem. Na Ken Ajaapong enko Bawumia fie. Na koka we na me welcome no. Say Dr. Bawumia so do MPP a one person kama board so pe na ba bi ntina. say Chama Kokofu Baba Tua won't to me any pass won't win the Pabano and a Santa Mantle and the Paba Chama won't win the Pabano and a Santa.
Anyway, Uncle Z, you know, last week you were here and you expressed your opinion about what your opinion about the announcement by the majority leader that the Kotoka International Airport was going to be renamed and it was going to be given the name Accra International Airport. In principle, you said on this platform that you didn't have anything against that. The only issue you had was the reasons that was given. When Mama Yariga said that, look, the land is for the Accra people, it was for them, give it back to them and so on. You thought it was a bad reason, simpliciter. Now, subsequent to that, there have been all kinds of public commentary on this matter, and there's one that I found very interesting. I thought that I would just play for you to. Bright, I think the video is ready. I want Uncle Sipra to watch this because there's some matters that borders on history, who Dr. Kwame Nkrumah was, what kind of leadership he offered this country. The 1960 Constitution, was that meant to make him a life president? Issues about PDA, the Preventive Detention Act, and so on and so forth, and all the other matters that have come up. So I want you to watch this video and then let me know what you think about it. Please, let's watch this video.
If you look at it critically, it's becoming very obvious that what all this is about settling political scores. It has nothing to do with renaming an airport. Really? It has everything to do with settling a major political part of our history, which is the sanctity and the 100% goodness of our first president and the illustrious Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. The point of the history is that since Nkrumah died, he has become much bigger than when he was alive. In the year 2000, the British Broadcasting Corporation, which did the survey, and in that survey, many of us as university students voted for Kwame Nkrumah because he was competing with Nelson Mandela, and Nelson Mandela was South African. And we didn't understand how the African story of the century can be told without the emasculation of colonialism and imperialism. And you can't attribute that to Mandela. The removal of colonialism, imperialism, and the fight against neocolonialism is certainly Nkrumah's fight. So we felt that it is actually unfair to compare Nelson Mandela to Kwame Nkrumah. We even thought that John Mensah Saba had done more than Nelson Mandela for Africa, but that's beside the point. So Nkrumah then ends up by the year 2001, 2002 as this ultimate political hero who has no blemish. Now, since 2017, at the outset of Akufo-Addo's government, he began to demonstrate a certain penchant for the history of Ghana. In his maiden independence speech, and this was the first time it happened on Independence Day, he almost gave a history lecture to the audience at the Independence Square, to the point where it was becoming very long. There has been some concerns then at that time about that, and I got personally involved because I attended a forum at the Socialist Forum to discuss these things on the celebration of 24th February, which is always the big day. 24th February is the day Nkrumah was overthrown. So this year, the overthrow of Nkrumah is going to be 60 years long. And it had always been planned by some of these actors that on the 60th anniversary of Nkrumah, let us restore Nkrumah's image 100% over Ghana. This Kotoka's name on an important edifice like the airport is the remaining last leg of the nemesis of Nkrumah that must be taken away, because they have been able to establish Nkrumah as the hero and the 100% hero since the BBC issue. Now, what we have been pointing out is that they started by arguing that Kotoka is a coup maker. Okay. And then that argument appears to be shifting. If you listen to Ambassador Kwesi Pratt, he was concerned that Mahama Yariga is turning this whole thing into a tribal matter. That what is Accra and what is all that? It's not about a tribal matter. It is about removing the image of some coup maker, as they say. Okay, you just talked about Arthur Kennedy, who then mentioned the coup maker thing relating to Rawlings. And then we also know about Franklin Kujo, who put up how Nkrumah's regime was murderous. What we would like Ghanaians to see, and at the end of the day, the government will make its decision. And then we will have to decide whether it's a political decision that we vote on the next time or whatever we do. But we have to, we cannot ignore history. We have to make obeisance to history. The history is that from 1960 up to the time Nkrumah was overthrown in 1966, he was a despot. He was not good for Ghana. He was terrible for Ghana. The 1960 constitution which Nkrumah put together, which I have in front of me, has Nkrumah's name buried in the constitution, Article 10.
Correct.
Where it is talking about Kwame Nkrumah as president of Ghana. So it's talking about Kwame Nkrumah as president of Ghana in that Article 10. There is also a bit more. It is in this same 1960 constitution that Nkrumah decided that there was an amendment to the 1960 constitution in 1964. And if you look at the amendment, it will interest you to know that the amendments that was provided in the 1964 amendment included the fact that Kwame Nkrumah was now able to dismiss judges. Yes. And also, yes, he was able to dismiss judges. And also, the national flag of Ghana was changed. He also banned all political parties in 1964. And people were imprisoned. Preventive Detention Act was created in 1958. You might not think of it as a bad law. It is only the usage that you can criticize. Because what happened is that Nkrumah had been attacked by a bomb. And it was becoming very scary between Nkrumah and the opposition. The violence was growing on the part of the opposition, I must say. And Nkrumah needed something that will allow the intelligence agencies to work. So that's why PDA was set up. So in fact, if you look at the usage of PDA, between 1958 when it was set up and about 1961, it was minimal. But from 1961 to 1964, the PDA was railroading everywhere and every home was afraid. This was the state of affairs in Ghana. Now, because we are not accustomed to our history that much, and all of us, many of us talking today, were not born in that time, we all don't know that, and we are railroaded into Nkrumah as something.
That's a situation where you could be arrested and put in custody without the intervention of a court.
Not just without the intervention of the courts, but on the basis that the Minister for Interior is thinking in his mind that you are preparing to do something wrong. This is a fundamental departure from the processes of the jurisprudence of the criminal court. It's just a fundamental and a wicked departure from it.
All right. Okay, so apparently you are the one behind the renaming of Kotoka International Airport, Socialist Forum. Are you still the General Secretary?
Yeah, I am, but tomorrow, I mean, this is the second time I'm watching this clip. And I can't help but to feel pity for Paul. You know, I really feel pity for Paul Adumoche. I mean, his total disregard of facts is shocking. I speak with Paul. As a matter of fact, Paul is actually my relative. He's married to my cousin. Okay. And I speak with Paul quite often. Paul knows, clearly, he knows. It is not that he doesn't know. Paul knows that I have never been an ambassador. And Paul knows that I will never accept an ambassadorial position. And yet, he keeps referring to me as Ambassador Kwesi Pratt. For a certain effect, I mean, this level of dishonesty, it's so shocking. And it runs through all of his presentations. You know, this one fact, Paul knows that I've not been an ambassador before. I am not an ambassador. I will never be an ambassador. And yet, he insists on calling me ambassador for some effect. This is pathetic. You know, this is really pathetic. But let's put that aside, you know. Paul, on this claim, makes the claim that if Oliver Vomal had lived in the Nkrumah era, he would have been consigned to a prison. I think that's most unfair to Oliver. Most unfair. That comparison is most unfair to Oliver. What has Oliver done? All he has done is to criticize government and to manifest his disagreement with government. This is not what happened at Nkrumah. How many children has Oliver killed with grenades. So to equate Oliver to those who killed innocent children at the stadium and some places and so on is most unfair to Oliver. You understand? But that is for Oliver to deal with. It's not for me to deal with. That equation is horrible, clearly unacceptable. Okay. Now, there's a guy who has written a very brilliant article, and I recommend it to everybody. His name is Echo Nelson. I told you about him this morning, explaining all of this. What is clear to me is that we need to emphasize the study of history, especially by our leaders and public commentators. Because Paul's presentation is an indication of the extent to which our understanding of history is warped and not based on facts. Okay. One, let's take the allegations he makes around the Preventive Detention Act. Okay. And he sees the Preventive Detention Act as an act of a tyrant, Nkrumah who does not believe in the rule of law and so on. Now, what is the reality? The reality is that today, there is no country in the world, and I emphasize that, which does not have Preventive Detention Act in one form or the other. So are we to say that today, all the governments in the world are headed by tyrants? If you take the United States of America, after 9/11, why? One of the laws which came into effect was the Patriots Act. You know that, and you, the two of you, should know that better. Yeah. What it does is that it allows for detention without charge and trial in situations of national emergency. The United Kingdom has the same law. Japan has the same law. China has the same law. Every country in the world has the same law. And these laws are the equivalent of the Preventive Detention Act, which was passed under Nkrumah. So you need to understand that very clearly. In any case, those who overthrew Nkrumah replaced the Preventive Detention Act with the Protective Custody Law, which in essence was the same as the Preventive Detention Act. Talk to the Nkrumah supporters, the ministers and so on, who were dumped into prison. Were they charged? Were they tried? No. Many of them, including pregnant women, were dumped into prison without charge and without trial, under the Protective Custody Law. So let's look at the essence of the law. And if you look at the essence of the law, it was the same. Now today, and happily you are here, we are in a democratic dispensation. All of us agree. It has its defects as well. We are in a democratic dispensation. Take the 1992 Constitution. There are provisions in the 1992 Constitution dealing with national emergencies and the declaration of war. When those situations arise, the president will confer on the president emergency powers, which enables the president to order arrest and detention without charge or trial because of the national emergency. Indeed, under Mr. Rawlings, I think it was in 1986 or thereabout, something very significant happened. The PNDC passed the Habeas Corpus Amendment Decree. The effect of the Habeas Corpus Amendment Decree was to make nonsense of the laws on habeas corpus. The law of habeas corpus simply says that if somebody is arrested and detained, you can go to court and the court can then order for the production of the person, the body of the person, and so on. Now, the Habeas Corpus Amendment Decree passed by Rawlings created a situation where all that the state had to do was to go to court and say that the person had been arrested and detained for national security reasons. Finish. Matter closed. This was under Jerry Rawlings in the 1980s and so on. Okay. Now, after 9/11, you know the number of people who were arrested around the world and dumped on the Guantanamo Bay prison in Cuba by the United States of America, without charge and without trial. Who was to argue that the U.S. was not under a state of emergency? Who made that argument? And who challenged the democratic credentials, the supposed democratic credentials of the United States of America? Did Paul and his cohorts challenge the democratic credentials of the United States of America? They did not. In any case, talking about the historical record, Nkrumah was in power for 9 years. And check this record. In the 9 years that Nkrumah was in power, where there were various attempts to kill him, to bomb him, there were killing of innocent citizens, including school children and so on. Do you know that only one person was executed? Check the record. And the person who was executed was Sergeant Ametewe, who had attempted to assassinate him at the Flagstaff House. All those who were caught for exploding bombs in stadium and so on, none of them was executed. This is the record of a tyrant, according to Paul Adumotri and his friends. The record of the tyrant Nkrumah is that those who tried to kill him, who bombed his house at the Balata market, tried to kill him and his mother, none of them was executed except for Sergeant Ametewe. And Sergeant Ametewe was actually convicted of the crime and sentenced to death by hanging by a competent court of jurisdiction. This is the record. In any case, the assassination attempts on Nkrumah, they began at a time when Ghana was a fully fledged multi-party democracy. So nobody can justify those assassination attempts on Nkrumah by reference to the 1960 Constitution. And so before 1960 Constitution, first of all, the first coup d'etat, which was planned by Awate, Aram Ponsa and co, occurred in 1958. 2 years before the 1960 Constitution. So what was the justification for that coup d'etat? The first attempt on Nkrumah, I guess, was in 1957 or 1958 at the Malata market. You know, opposite the Malata market, there used to be a brick house where Nkrumah used to live with his mother, Nyaniba. It was attacked with bombs. You understand? There is the Lucas House affair. Lucas House affair is very, if you study our history, you cannot ignore Lucas House. There was a celebration of Nkrumah's birthday, and young people, young pioneer members and so on had gone to celebrate. When they were leaving the celebration in a procession, opponents of Nkrumah dropped bombs amongst the children. They dropped bombs. Children who were celebrating Nkrumah's birthday. What crime had they committed? And the Accra Sports Stadium incident, where they dropped bombs on the Accra Sports Stadium, killing many school children, including Ya Asantwa, who only died recently, who used to live at Dansuma Estate. I'm sure all of you know that story. You know, under these circumstances, were we expecting Nkrumah to call his opponents and present them with bouquets of flowers and kiss them on both cheeks? What is this? By the way, this reference to the one-party state, that Nkrumah created a one-party state and so on, I refer everybody to the testimony of Joe Appiah, who was an opponent of Nkrumah. Joe Appiah has written extensively about the declaration of the one-party state. I read it last night. Joe Appiah says that Nkrumah invited him to the Flagstaff House for a meeting, a 3-person meeting. The 3 people who were in that meeting were Kofi Baku, Nkrumah himself, and Joe Appiah. And Nkrumah discussed with him the need to establish a government of national unity. And that government of national unity was to be led by Joe Appiah himself and Nkrumah. And they were to bring on board that government elements of the UP. It was a government which was going to be created by the UP and the CPP together. This is the historical record. It's available. I can send it to you later. This is Joe Appiah's confession. Okay? And that, in the course of this discussion, Joe Appiah requested that the meeting should be enlarged. So eventually it moved from a 3-member meeting to a 7-member meeting. And that Nkrumah left for Moscow on an official assignment and continued communicating with him. It was during this period that the intelligence found evidence of an attempt to kill Nkrumah and to overthrow his government. Listen very carefully. This is 1959 to 60. So it was on the basis of the plot to kill Nkrumah when he was trying to bring the opposition into government so that they could govern Ghana together, that the one-party state was declared without the opposition. The original intention was to build a government of national unity which brought everybody together. Paul doesn't have that history. He hasn't read enough. And I would advise Paul to educate himself. To be abreast with all of these different, strands and so on, and stop talking like an ignorant, I want to be very careful with my words. I want to be very careful with my words. Complete ignorance. And he displays this ignorance with confidence, bravado, and so on. What else did he say? What else did he say? The coup. Who organized the coup? It is not true that the 1966 coup was organized by Kotoka. That's another falsehood. Now, Moro, listen to me very carefully. And I said that last week on this very platform. I had the privilege of interviewing one of the architects or one of the people who we know was involved in the 1966 coup. And I interviewed J.W.K. Halley. No, A.K. Deku. I interviewed A.K. Deku. I told the story last week. And if you listen to A.K. Deku, the hub of the conspiracy to overthrow Nkrumah in 1966, the hub, the Ghanaian hub, was led by a Major Kwashi, who was a military officer working at the 37 Military Hospital. In fact, it was in his house that the conspirators met. Halley, Deku, and many others were recruited to join the conspiracy. Okay? Indeed, that coup was organized. First of all, it was instigated, sponsored, and organized by the Central Intelligence Agency of the United States of America. And the evidence is there. It's in black and white. Just read it. Look, the Socialist Movement of Ghana has published a book titled The Great Deception, How the CIA Overthrew Nkrumah. That book has 2 components. One is the raw declassified documents of the CIA about how it organized the coup. This is the CIA itself talking about how it organized the coup. And then there is commentary by persons who know, like Mahoney and others. And so, if you read that book, you are left in no doubt about who organized the coup and why the coup was organized. In fact, the coup was not organized because Nkrumah had become a dictator and a tyrant and so on. It's false. You see, on September 21, 1960, I think, the British High Commissioner in Ghana then, he was called A.W. Snelling. A.W. Snelling sent a cable to his home office, urging his home office to speed up preparations for the coup d'etat, and he wrote in black and white that it was time to get rid of Nkrumah, and that if they didn't get rid of Nkrumah, British interest in Africa would suffer. That was the only reason for the coup. foreign intelligence agencies conspiring to overthrow a Ghanaian government because that Ghanaian government was committed to the protection of the national interest, because that Ghanaian government was loyal to the resolution of the 1945 Congress, Pan-African Congress in Manchester, which has called on Africa to struggle for national independence, to control its own resources and exploit its own resources for the benefit of its people, and to build continental union, a continental union guided by the principles of scientific socialism. This is what the West was afraid of. This is what the West didn't want. This is why they staged the 1966 coup, and they themselves have commented on it. Beyond this, Paul should find time to read John Stockwell. John Stockwell. John Stockwell was one of key CIA agents who eventually rebelled and has written his account of why and how Nkrumah was overthrown. Then there's Philip Agee. Stockwell, of course, died in exile and so on, but there's also Philip Agee, whose accounts are clear about how the coup was organized, who organized it, and so on. But beyond that, it's also the book. It's called, the title of the book is JFK, Ordeal in Africa. And that book was authored by Jack D. Mahoney. Jack D. Mahoney was the son of a former U.S. ambassador to Ghana. And he details how the Central Intelligence Agency of the U.S. subverted the Nkrumah government and prepared the grounds for the coup d'etat. So those of us who are opposed to the 1966 coup are not opposed to the 1966 coup only because it's a coup d'etat. We are opposed to the 1966 coup because it was a manifestation of a Western intelligence conspiracy against the independence project, against the national aspirations of African people. It was a subversion of Ghanaian sovereignty. It was intended to bring us to where we are today. It was intended to push us onto the path of the neoliberal order, to accept the dictates of the IMF and the World Bank, to devalue the national currency within 10 years by more than 22,000%, to put us on a path in which in 1983, 300,000 workers lost their jobs. This is why we are opposed to the 1966 coup. It is not for any fanciful reason and so on. In any case, Moro, Paul claims that it is the socialist movement of Ghana which is behind this move. Of course, the socialist movement of Ghana condemns the 1966 coup and everything else that arose out of the 1966 coup and so on. But that movement has not even issued one statement in its 30-year life calling for the change of the name Kotoka International Airport. Not one statement. I don't know where Paul is getting all this information from. You understand? And all of this emphasizes the need for Ghana as a country to place some emphasis on the teaching of history. Because if we don't, we are going to get leaders like this who don't know anything about our history, who on the basis of their own conjecture will make policy. And those policies will be disastrous because they have no basis in the science of history and the science of thinking. That is the problem. You understand? It's pathetic. Look, me, I am 2,000% for the change of the name. My reason for the change of the name is not because Kotoka staged a coup or that Kotoka is an ever or so. My reason for the name change, is that 1966 represented an affront to national sovereignty. Because 1966 was a direct subversion of the national interest, our national identity and so on. And we cannot honor the day in which a foreign power and its allies decided to overthrow a popularly elected government in Ghana. That is my point. And you see, for those who talk about repression and so on about Nkrumah, their knowledge of history is very weak. Look, me, as a child, I was a school-going child. I saw, with my own eyes, I was not told, I did not read it from books. I saw Boy Moses, an envoy of Nkrumah, put in a cage, in an iron cage, tied to a truck and driven around the streets of Accra. Those are the people who believed in democracy and human rights. They caught another human being, put him in a cage, iron cage, tied him to a truck and drove him on the principal streets of Accra. They should stop wasting our time and wasting our years.
Samira Baumia, why Otsiwo, or won't say Jimmy or handle it to say Kura. Amira, they know what they are doing. Samira Samebua, Uncle Busa Uche, Ghana na Damfuna, Emma Oni Uche, Tumiti, and Uncle Busano, Uncle Fre Uche, no Musa Uche say, then on Samira Damfona, or introduce Uche Codino, Emma Oni Uche, Tumiti.
But be a Samuel Kodruni, I just say Samira Baumia, the wife of Dr. Mahmoud Baumia, or Pempeni Fubi, a cock Kevin Taylor Fee. No more company chow. Bonnie be or the INB the company chow because we are dorsal. In recent times was so ja as a yes Samira Baumia Pumpum, I can say Nasem Kitwa, Nasamanoka say video be a sign poppy up on social media. Kevin a cover detailer and Sama Oka, FIA Dr. Mahmoud Baumia, Yere Samira Baumia, Hono, Messi will be shocked. Or Chilemuan, or say Samira Baumia, Edina downfall. Aqua Mobi. Now, a near mercy or honomono. Nini na obeti e video wi na bia mo so no o sai chei mensa bonsu ensema Kevin e ko be detail a e kan fa ne ho no ene expose a o ye no at the end of this particular video no obeti nini na ha Kevin e ko be detail a san be expose e ye o sai chei mensa bonsu ye ba ke sai nya sem ketwa o so o sai chei mensa bonsu odi ba o mi atini nyina e ye running mate na ope Enti no waba abonten ababete warning. Say it's not done anywhere. Obi a contest ye Dr. Mahmoud Baumia bia no. Onye na adwen say onya running mate bia ni. Bran Champon Kennedy akompre ko Japan. Ene eye kwabere Japan omo ka ho nyina no. O se o contest Baumia nko ade a know that running mate bia eni homa. Na Kevin e ko ba detail kan sem bia fa o say chei mensa bonsu eho. Ye hwe video yi emra.
TV so na mete. Mini adwuma foforo bia it is a word you say, Kevin Taylor Bejai, Emma, what be transfer there, forget because we meet him the consistency at the set Abladikuma, but the set Opela Boaje still standing. Me ko baby because some engineer and church them and expose a comfort to some NPP. Mobesa da Ghana for said the way MP NDC build Ghana bedroom point to be a Mobeji Ghana say no. I am not going to allow you fools, tribal bigots, and I'm how they see it. Yejum meko eyaba. No, let's just go straight. I don't want to lose the momentum. This Oseche mensa bonsu aka sembi. When people for munim nyansa on. Moju so obi ejimi meboa. E den na Oseche mensa bonsu eka. Ose no running mate slot for you. It is not done anywhere. Oseche mensa bonsu say ono na eba umia right hand man Oseche mensa bonsu ubusan say obedi eye MP e was swami for over 30 years no e dey na odema swami for because osi abronsan eye ebini dan akwawe onim nyansa now na some okay nyina o say opese eto eye omo a omo call primaries omo de Bawumia ko contest and say ma obi anfo na ni nto se Bawumia be ni running mate because ono o say chairman Sabonsu no pe tie o say chairman Sabonsu say no running mate slot for anybody who contested Bawumia. And he wants to tell them, say, Sadian, yenyen baby, so when himself contested Bawumia, forget about running mate. So when him so who are Jenny a bit to match my so we are capable of helping. Almost said no. I said, Chairman Sabonsu say, no help running mate, no. 80 mamunya margin some money per 5, no. Nana odi Bawumia chi echo back can kwasi as an amojin so with Jimmy. Yare a good one and natural etare no to odidi Bawumia eko eba na mo gwense won wagimi. The reason why ntana odi Bawumia ne say opese Bawumia fa as running mate ono papa akokora no obese obedi joker chi as a running mate into wedi nkan ka kire eye Brian Agyapong waka kire eye country waka kire eye den eye Agyapong ene waka kire Kennedy say montuma adwirim na mo gwense Bawumia na edi na kire yankwasiafo obo defense ama ne ho. O say Chairman Sabonsu on one gase de pe running mate na ye. Tie. O say Chairman Sabonsu. O say on one gase o say Chairman Sabonsu no pe running mate. Enu ntina sebio ono papa penyi toto te say no oja adwuma nyina o ya odidi Bawumia we echi. Onim se Bawumia Ghana fo ngini ndi. Oni se Bawumia Santefo trust no. Oni se Bawumia o ya tribal. Onu se Bawumia o nipa bia ontumi nka asem ndi so onu se Bawumia na yire ene control no but onim se asantefo no se bi so mu hu nanim a omu betumi den ama NPP tumi na mapakwan bi so ku Bawumia to atwene na asantini abedi NPP enim enu ti no di Bawumia chi enti he is not following Bawumia because Bawumia ho ofe ana ono Bawumia tani no onim nyansa chen no ana Bawumia we experience chen no odi Bawumia chi because opese Bawumia na running mate no mde ne kwa santimemu no mde kwa tumi omu wi na poison ekuno. And that is what he's telling you people. Or say money pa numuno. Money pa na money Bawumia echo contest no. Or catch them say, remember Obiampon down, you know, nobody should even think about it once. For a day, for even a month, that some of you or any of you guys will be called to be Bawumia's running mate. Or say it's done nowhere in the world. And then Papa Kokra Saka Sankwasi Asemno. It is because he wants to be running mate. It is because Mahamudu Bawumia only decisive person, only control. Ne yire aye ne draw. Why is a motoroto Bawumia? Why is a taba? Samira Bawumia. Why a Bawumia to say bentia not siwo? Or won't say o Jimmy or handle it to say kura? It is a search Chairman Sabonsu bopia omono. When was a Bawumia only on one wajiro to take a decision. So they have connived with idea before no. Samira, they know what they are doing. Samira sabe boa onko busa uche Ghana na na damfo na ema oni uche tum tete onko busa no de bad oni man ankwatena konwa so. Samira sabe boa onko frɛ uche na omusa uche se den na ono no Samira damfo na o introduce che uche ko di no ema oni uche ntam tete ye. Samira wo Samira wallahi you have no idea. Me you have no idea. And you almost started obian started. Because with me, I just don't come after people. Uye mi bibia na meba uchi. Intimacy. Mungo busa Samira. So I am telling you people. Or say Chairman Sabonsu no. Or no or say Chairman Sabonsu no. Or per vice president. Or per running mate. Into a 2 warning. And into the biaboko no otisam e Bawumia fie. No I say jata. Oba no show him. Or say Chairman Sabonsu nesu omuyi afenyo marketing free ho. You have no idea. Why na ye ku eyi ose Chairman Sabonsu free anya afenyo marking and Ekufuado efre ne ka che de say omu pe obi obey dirty work to protect ono Ekufuado enti ose Chairman Sabonsu so or the parliamentary business a check or per president di or be so sabotage Ekufuado and Ekufuado catch afenyo marking say do everything possible and get rid of ose Chairman Sabonsu. Now ose Chairman Sabonsu, it is his time to take revenge. Enti that change of afenyo marking, it is inevitable. A blow which is inevitably yours when earlier received can cause torrential hostilities. Chadia Ben will know agentem or say Chairman Sabonsu will take his revenge, and that revenge is to make sure Afenyo Markin is kicked out as the minority leader. Which is a politician who trasa. What do you mean? Mo MPP for na mudi politics na chino. Mo Jimmy ntina mudi agro. This is how the plan worked. This is how it looks. Plan na mudi atu achira no. And I'm not going to lie to you. Game ni na uhunu sa no. Or say chairman supposed to time edu, he is going to take his revenge. The way Afenyo Markin made sure or ye coup or say chairman Sabonsu as the majority leader no, or say chairman Sabonsu is going to cut him into pieces. Afenyo Markin or Wayne. Afenyo Markin no or Wayne. Afenyo Markin osro say chairman Sabonsu. Odim said the idea or say chairman Sabonsu no or say men Sabonsu. He is going to retaliate and he's going to do it. Obey you know. Because you see, or say chairman Sabonsu, or ye Afenyo Markin, or ye Patricia PJ, or Claire, sa criminal macho man, his way is clear. Baumia Jimmy, Baumia cannot take decisions. They will tell Baumia who and who to put in the front. The moment or say chairman Sabonsu is able to get that done, he will handle Baumia. Someone in politics, or say chairman Sabonsu, bet in politics, obe cookie a strategy na mamo moto wo na nam woni so mutumi nya foko me say o say chairman Sabonsu ne plan ekuta no the day na mu say o say chairman Sabonsu lead the Baumia campaign, it wasn't because of anything, no. It was because he wanted to take over parliament, NPP parliament. And he has never forgiven Afenyo Markin. Because you see, Afenyo Markin kodini hu konkonsa echire Kufuado. Afenyo Markin went to tell them deals are not all cut or parliament. Afenyo Markin Emma eye Kufuado who say or say Chairman Sabonsu was making millions in parliament without giving the president anything. So what Kufuado muye and say they used the same Afenyo Markin to get rid of Osei Chairman Sabonsu, and later he got to know. He did not say anything because he knew say Ekufuado way or ya Tiasiewo or ya Banchi in less than 6 months they will get rid of him and or train Ekufuado a free power because don't him said there was no way the NPP was going to win and it not or stay back. He knew. Or free one or question Baumiechi, he had a plan. If he's able to use Baumia to win the primaries, he can instruct Baumia to change the Afenyo Markin. That is why Afenyo Markin's change inevitable. So MP before now, my church will match them. Yedamu jina MPP yanko baby. Now, let me. I say Chairman Sabonsu. Besides, give me his picture. Let me show Ghanaians another diabolic man. Obabi Openo. Obabi Opeso nida. Obabi Opeso nida. I say Chairman Sabu. Obabi Openo. Ono so ne siashi. Obabi Openo. Sakwa we. Obabi Openo. Ko parliament ko hwe. Okasa brother Chambers utiati. Me see uni must say Chairman Sabonsu Chemi. Another criminal man. This guy. Obabia Openo. Kobusa parliament for mano. Ubo humusio. No say, oh, leader, I want to come and discuss something with you. Okwa person oda. Sa not here. Obe bibia ma person oda. O say Chairman Sabonsu akwawi. This is him. Another stubborn guy. Diabolic politician. Swamifo Jimmy and Okajan say on pointed to one monumental thing or yema swamifo or bega say oye bini dime or mo or no ko jina kan say inti yesi toilet eya bronsan mu hu ya na swamifo di be Jimmy ntu no mo boje so ye e bini dime we or the politics enya ne hu say bem or strategically o hu say swamifo nte brofo and o kotua alo brofo bi and you know Mr. Speaker so I'm before 90% into brofo to me nchro inti ogina nkran ya na o de so am for business ogina nkran ya na o de so am for digwa na o de so am for estate akese na o de todan akese na o de building the capacity na so am for team futuro nim 8 years when timi am for se me anya so am for kwan amomo akwa we. I said Chairman Sabonsu ni sexy guy, sexy tiny, pam. I got my bottom. Sexy man. Akwawi, we're taking hold of Baumia Shua Ekutano. Mese Baumia Shua no kutem. Obetre NPP for Kafia. Ope vice president, ope running mate. Now we are a very diabolic politician. Obey use the same Bawumia internal people to destroy Bawumia. It will implode. Ebe payegu Bawumia yem. Akwawi or a diabolic. And you see, Bawumia is not a smart politician. Bawumia or a pay as you go politician. The more you clap, the more it gingers him, and then he speaks anyhow. Sana Bawumia tiye. He cannot keep his composure. He is not able to compose himself to the point whereby when he even gets excited, he cannot calm himself. You see, his nerves, you know, it's say aquara nerves. What Bawumia hates, say, so then he gets out of his day, he gets into his zone. Papa, into Bawumia no, any extraordinary politician. Bawumia is not a communicator. Bawumia is not a politician. Bawumia by chance and about politics. Bawumia na also made the president, by chance about politics. It is all steady Bawumia power. The way real politicians are able to compose themselves when they are in front of people, crowd, because every chair and a good chair in politics. And biana, excited. Some another sometimes it takes you to your grave. You as a politician, you should know when to understand a chairs be, when to talk, when to relax, when to basically hit the point where the chairs will keep on. Bawumia, what he hates is say yay. Obama ni Jimmy na bete. E wala na papa shi na ba. The koyonso. The moment obewu yay na koyonso na bete. Afi no kasa no yesi. No yesi. Edi Bawumia chima miss. Say Bawumia ohusa man for budget so pena koyonso na ba. Koyonso na fi oye and one thing.
So after watching this particular video, no, you heard what Kevin Ekobedute la ekan here. The fire or say che mensa bonsu. Ehun ana kese nya sem ketua. Na o chire mu a. Also say che mensa bonsu. Ohun say Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia ne yire e ne control no. Also say che mensa bonsu. Ohun say Bawumia entimi mu o man. Entino or yeah everything possible. Send your baby Bawumia running mates na. Later no, na kese wa ye Bawumia ne obeye no yi na firi no num aba abehye honom. We ye Kevin Taylor na num asem enyeme en America. According to Kevin Ekobedute Taylor no
pale asofo ni bin commission kakra obamu mabobo de mame enti uti mi anope ya ti Eugene compile by we are not going to play these videos to ridicule the men of God, but I'm going to play these videos to tell you say say a father. So for penny I would tell nasi whether I was of mame or your wine, what's the nasi na will lead you spiritually. Na unu bibia or catch your uti, but anopay the memeka and say one so yanko poti on Bible. Oh so sorry bano. Nyankopon eti wo Bible. Na wo so ka omu a Nyankopon se obo wo mu se ne seso no. There are no superhuman beings. In the spiritual realm, I know there are levels. Obia wo ba bia.
Ranks.
But it doesn't cease your conversation or the kind of appeal you can make to God. Now so be tiwasem. And so for bia wo die mnum say ono so ni part say wa. Enti so the thought that what the ono ni instincts, ni emotions, ni interest, it is mixed with what they hear from God. Enti just like someday I was saying, say you don't have to parasite loyalty. Say what the nipa way and I'm a dan nipa way na me jiri nipa way na me nenam ti oya de we ya now so udi actually. Sometimes you have to critically analyze or assess the situation before you jump into the bus with whoever you want to journey with. Enti me papa any prophet Victor Sibuati 2024 or come for about amen. Okay. It does not cease him to be a prophet of God. Or that's why in Yankopon soft. Or that's why you be a or shall come none in commission or shall a bem no that's one idea. And I still see him as a father.
Okay.
Sana minimu say sorry ma omo call asofo omo sheshe nkom yi bi asori no. Sana mun koso ehunu omo se omo ye mojanom. Omo ye masofo. But the difference is abrebiano onso so etoda apply common sense.
Tiawa
activate the wisdom anyankopon dia mawo. And then you should also get to your knees and pray and ask God questions. Because if we are you will not know when somebody is doing what to serve his interest or to serve the interest of his or her followers.
No.
Or whatever he or she is doing, whether it is that from God and oil. Come on, and now independent J ahunya dear and bebrebe na saying there is a very thin line senipa ebe trading integrity for treasures are obenya than to hold up to the credibility or the integrity. Na asofoni bebe fail that test. I have said a number of times, say in my journey in this industry, adeba kwa debi ame bon hom pa say rade man empare me say ebe nam me so na sofu bi aso de begu ana say ebe nam me so bi bu sofu bi animtia. And so I don't discuss men of God on my platform, but I can discuss their actions and inactions.
Yes.
They are two different things.
Yes.
I don't discuss them, but what they do and what they don't do, assembling beto what they are, obi a bit much yes. I am saying this because I know a constituency constituency officer who was through and through Baumia. But the very day or tea, Prophet El Bernard and commission and penny for na ferry for obia ne kasai was a debi that about me abelus. And so he started working for Honorable Kennedy Agyapong. So if this person had sat down, prayed, analyzed what is happening, now sabe in prayer you say me did not or the adwene kakra to ho a bia and can take that decision that he took. And I want to believe there are a lot of people and more outsider, they were also swayed by the prophecies and echo around.
Obi otimi do chairmanship level mpu e say ya.
Now the danger in it is obi is so attached to the software that the software can one here say amemu a na dwebe ni say obi na chinchim obi sa na adane into na amem
sasu na me
say ni pa obi di tuo anase kanhye ne nsem obeto say onkoto ana ofa nkodi ewu because there was say si ni amana nsi a obekọ akoye. That is why I'm saying say encomission dey ebeba. But sometimes sit down and ask yourself questions. Say, wait there. If you nyame anase nipa no, we free ni sofu sumu, edi ni nupe su. and because and some na binum kan na no hye na no hye pa and so even your two abanu kra wie no na azobi e hwedi besi nti tena o papa na yase tena o maame na yase obompaye omo akwanche ohunade no ka kirewa to wana mo da bia se me kana come she bia it comes with responsibility come she bia adwuma e wo ho to obeka ya I think a week or two to election na me ka say and so asofu bia come sha obehye se bebe mu a ye ne ekotoba ne bebe na bem okay they was see we be lusu no say yes so na de tire obi ase aba no nkoto a wa hye nkom de batemem indeed I was surprised people took prophecies nearby, you know, say and only the only means are ebe mo bi edi nkunim na so we be lose mo fan wake up na ye die o ma sho munkum yakoto ba na wie weda ne nyame ene ka che no anase ono a ene be kai oni nyankopon asem oni nyankopon asem I have watched a video. Yeah, Papa, Reverend Osubempa, once again, ought to be a man. Papa may need sa a one day no, any 2 minutes me no, ebe year no. But I have to correct near Okaino. Won to me multimedia e wo TV stations enum and e wo radio stations enum won to me TV e wo Kumase Movement TV e kan won to me multimedia no ho e wo Nkran Billionaires TV e kan won to me multimedia no ho e wo Sehwioso Western Diamond TV e kan won to me multimedia no ho e no so e chema won to media e wo Takrade Northern Go TV e kan won to be multimedia no ho e watamale eno so e chema won to media papa se oti asem anase se wa kwampo na wote ho na wutie na uhuna if you want to address it bring some accuracy in your address because I say ye be to aba no e de onesofo Bernard a picture abeto TV so bida and I say or no any of Bernard akoshia nkom etia Dr. Baumia and I tia the entire me year no and yetia na yedidi natem Reverend Isaac Osubempa. I remember in the run up to election 2024 movement TV for cars and be Emma Oka cars would to me TV ebo me din Ohereba edin ewum I don't remember say on my show me the wumfonyini any so for Bernard abeto TV so
see dakra baby
and at no point in time and am no ebetumi etia me fere kra
den nyina ye
say me yes ade
den nyina ye pewasem
na saa de ye ne bufu NPP fo a ne bufu Dr. Baumia o yes say on support tum no papa me but I know say you have a lot of reasons why we hear the MPP. And I am yet to be convinced that a woman MPP for lose you. And you might have done something, but me, I am yet to be convinced that a and nobody under this sun can convince me say wo and I better MPP about power and as I want to MPP baby.
Only God.
I respect you as a man of God. And same way I expect everybody to respect my father, Prophet Victor Kusibuatin, Reverend Isaac Osubempa, Bishop Emmanuel Kwakutachi, any asofo na aka no. Saa na me expect say me so any afufu nya be respect o. but the NC you know and can't find matter
Debbie emodin wom
me fa wo funyin into her
Debbie
I don't remember say the last 1 year krama kan wasem
ntimi kro anyesa ah
na campus matra akodidi watem
Debbie
because the moment you mention want to meet TV na di wo funyin ato ano mimi din obi abebo
ende
I have not done that
say me din obi abebo
and as I wish I won't come so you are at liberty to prophesy na kopo ofro na me ni ho
Debbie
same way na o ka bi a che wo se be hye ho nkomo a eno so mi nyina ho bi
sa na tie
and I have not done that
Debbie
so obi na frɛ wo ka kyerɛ wo a busane bio
video wo ho say we dey social media
so was on out TV ho na wo nu ya sa ko TV ko bio it is not me
Debbie
it is not want to be
TV cry Debbie
o ja na akoye na anu asim ni
and we take responsibility on whatever happens on all the 5 radio stations all the 5 TV stations but when you want to address an issue address it accurately because once again enye wo na be NPP for aba power and then unni say to me no unye nyankopon
da bi nyame nkuto
because na no da wo kan say jo mahama ne sa hwa e moja
tontu metina Ghana konwa so bi mu
don't be ni mampani bi wow be kan say na do yenti na koma pani nyame ehunu mobo se bi bi pontre Dr. Baomi enti ni mampani a there will be a day
nyame be hu
na mkopo be hunu mobo
sa na tie
enti no ti na so re mana mo hweme no anaza mo beti obeti aka achem no mon kan che papa osu be mpa say enye wontu mi TV
Debbie enye sa krada
enye wontu mi TV
headquarters
ni asemboni bia
ni asem and I doubt to say any of our sister stations, you know, did not. Maybe you see there are 2 different things. Udi adie utu na mo bi no bi chena dwene for no wadwene enyepa. Eni ba be fa say dey atem.
Sana tie o. Sana ya ba be.
Sana 2024 the run up to see be select running mate no. Obi a shewa udi na poatem and I also say me ni di atem. Asam ba meka madwene meche madwene afa ho. Eti papa, it might be say it could be Western Diamond, it could be billionaires, it could be movement, it could be Obia. But Ebim Poa, a ye see a some no mumbo diaka, or many do what?
Debbie. Take a benefit.
It is a home poa. Probably they are reporting on because I doubt is that Reverend Women Papa tells you want to meet you as a movement. They are and as a member, you were no company for a house. General manager, you were news editor, Yahoo, and near few at industry. I don't think they will be Jam and Matnak can't with a software did not. And the workers are corner is an insult to the management of the radio station. Say, Omotiana, that is not it. Papa, in all humility, respectfully, I have not sat here to insult you. Me fa unfo into TV so and obi aso ntra enye
Debbie
obi aya kwa we nipa kro
sa na tie
ne address no accurately
eno so
no ade no aka de baby
aka zamba ko
I know you na
sir on behalf of a form phone say they say form phone Dr. Baomi
okay
sabri on man in na ho emfa mahunu running mate on man in na ho one I can't last one
in the last elections, you know. I personally feel that we made a lot of unnecessary noise in the run up to the selection of the running mates.
Okay.
And we have to be measured this time. The two baby Obian to Minka said he or she got everything right. You might be baby now. Saturday, you two baby, you know. Saturday night. And I'm who's uncle for I started supposed to share flyers. Dodona coming from Omua. Campaign me call Western region kakra. Me call Western North kakra. Bono me call ho kakra. I spent the day at Bono East. Ashanti region, I just Samaria by na me di actually.
Okay.
Dr. Mahmoud ba me by na me di actually. Omu a men hu omu e campaign mu no. Omu no ma sha ase den. Ena they also a running mate. Emma Dr. Baumia. When you do this, na ma yina ya betiesim. Because ye kodon wa no bi. Enti afuo no aduru the harvest na. Wu ntumi de kan kotwa so aba enya obi a. And same way you think you have an interest no, obi aso obi. Munya papa no. Ma obi a fa unnecessary pressure bia enkono so. Munyai. Me minimum a omutra krumanum said Dr. Bernard Champon ayo mo papa ntumi nye campaign Emma Dr. Baumia. Okay. El momu a omuso mu ne dimi nyansa yina nti aba no ye koto no neutral. Omu ye neutral mo gina finfini. And I said it here. So wa wo so ye neutral dan ye koto aba no. Ye to aba no wi a koso aye neutral.
And other crap party na se me.
Ye wo hwehwe ewo party mu bia no gina neutral. Sa ne fako.
Ai. Neutral for no so be di wo twi sa.
Yes. Na omu a no so be neutral, omu ye nya atwem na. Okwa ha no abakawe no abaha no abaka omu sire omu kwa omu so munye nutu no mo kire ba bi omu obada yenim so mun support Dr. Bamia omu kwa de omu kraye
saba
omu kraye ti ye to aba no ye mo tete WhatsApp platform so na masha ase na Dr. Wesu mu tedi ma ka chere be dinatem na Dr. NAPO no change Matopoku Bebe no change. You cannot decide for Dr. Baumia. If you think you can decide for Baumia and any akoya campaign man no support no etra ase no pa wi anwumre no yes so ya dwene be yes ah. And you also start speaking or talking to the issues. It munyai aseda kwa wonanwie and ma be shase man this unnecessary pressure.
It's a catch our own GD. No, the pop Gary Sokins no for me breakfast. Now, many message. Into many message, no. Now you say a tweet from Eba Penny Sadiq Adams post Obama. Now message in the buy no. Now say Eba Penny Sadiq Adams post Obama aka control or Twitter say a manager of a hugely popular Ghanaian packaged food brand has been remanded in custody for allegedly attempting to traffic Indubone out of Ghana. Narcotic Control Deputy Director no any Angel TV for Ekasaim say manager no of product brand we more person be name no but product in widely consumed our Ghana has say a conceal substances believed to be Indubone the amount for HTB our products nimu amate so much no our airport hono nje me koko bisa abrewa me ko bisa ma abrewa say asam we na matim na me ye Gary Sokins kwa na me tse asam we amba benu me breakfast am bedi na me tse asam we na asam we no et say na so oba say narcotics ya oba sia okoye ba ye no na oba ma me brand ni na me say hey oye sure no so o me to ebu ase na asam ni na anything food brand no no cre say you confirm ye na enya ona no eno mache no na mom de esi ye ne say na obi di Indubone ehye sa popular eduani a je say ye di wo Ghana he nso mo shepe bi de kwa abochi na obi di Indubone ehye bi mu ende enye de mo so ne kwa de mo twene so bi omo di hyemu na ya ne say ye di eduane a Ghana eduane na ye de kọ eye eduane amanfo nim amanfo ani gye ho na ye de kọ ne ade na so sana Indubone efrafra ene ye omo shepe de kwa abontin nti ende Saturday na omo che company ni wura no omo che no Saturday but omo release no enra they say ye Tuesday 10th of February 2026 no omo release eduane wura no omo release eduane wura no next Saturday no why investigation tin crofo we in charge of packaging of shipping products na omo de call airport on man say na akwa abochi no omo kokko chichi chomo nyina what say omo kokko chichi chomo nyina enti ona ne so de ahwe omo so akokko chi ne biom na mom no in the meantime no enkrofo ma chichi chomo nyina ye enkrofo a omo handle senior ye packaging na ye shipping sa particular induane ne de ko ona de omo di kai che no ena no Saturday no eno omo di kan echi ona no a Ghana mramu no 48 hours emrani ade enti no omo release no for the time being nemo mama omo kaka ho so no na wotwe omo simu na cortex for akwa church omo na kwa eba Penny Sadiq Adams sports Obama post nasia o se eba Penny e post ye say omo chi ni panda da oda so ho no mo ene ade enye de omo twe no de omo hye so eka ho right okwa the post nasia amafo e chom adwen e wo ho no okwa we say patiently waiting for bongo ideas to drop details. I mean, currently the issue is being investigated by NAPO 4, right? So you can't mention the brand name because if you mention the brand name now, it brings up a whole lot. Well, it brings up a whole lot. Of course, like I said, Saturday omuchi onano and the kaka hon omuguso aye investigation so much chibi. But the truth is that ampa omunya substances be ewo induane no emu a che say ehihim de omotwe ene de omoshe what I say eno munye nyaye ewo induane no mu a che so omoshe pedi akwa amano ne eno omochi omo. Anyway, I say a lot of them are into this. Most big men you hear their names on the streets are into nasty business. They will be exposed one by one. It is we the youth that are suffering. They will come and tell you that they started their door-to-door business with Olonka of door-to-door. So you don't need capital to start business. Let me put allegedly over here. No, they ever two one. We say if you fear to mention name, we say if you fear to mention name, I beg, don't post. We beg what the Kokonsa committee ain't happy. I only think says Sadiq Adams Sports Obama, like myself, we are not mentioning the names because say investigations are still ongoing. Like I said, as for me, I wish I could mention the name, right? I wish I could mention the name, but I am in no position whatsoever to mention. But like I said, NACOC arrested the owner on Saturday. Saturday no muchi ni pano. And Enra no under 48 hours. Once a weekend no to me and grant bill. Right? Until under 48 hours. And no granting bill. But omo kaka on package. I don't know. Omachi omuyina. We say Grok ebi who na Grok no ye Ghana ni. Obedi you. Obedi you. We say this case, you guys will be shocked about the product. When I first found out, I was in disbelief. Then, meaning all this while I've been taking cocaine. No, it's not as if say it was infused in the product, right? Omo the afra product, no. So what I say? Omo the afra product, no. Oh, omo the afra no more than shipping aircraft man. Inti aya say the aduane say and the aircraft man. So na indubone efrafra. So what I say? Ebi a packet 3 bia edubone ba ko a packet 3 bia edubone ba ko ha and na akofo che a say omo akoti ona no but how do we release it, right? Omo trust be say we so better say if they fail to mention the person's name, then it means he would definitely be set free. We would have known the person's name if he or she had been arrested outside Ghana. That is true. That is true, right? That's as for that one there, it is very, very true. Say outside Ghana, nka say oba bo nipa na bi ni da. What I say? By say oba bo nipa bi abo product no a che asem ni mu. Ghana nko na say state agency bi echi obi a omo tumi che asem ni mu. Just a bloggers na oba bet till asem no ho kakra. Obo na asem be kwa wiye no. Then the actual fact of the matter no is not known. The actual fact of the matter is not known. But I mean, I'm sure say as time goes on, we will get there. Wait, no name bullshit news. Why even post it? Wait, is it the brand that I'm thinking about? Hey, I don't have good lawyers, so make I keep quiet. I mean, it has nothing to do with the lawyers, right? Because the substance NACOC has confirmed say any cocaine. NACOC can confirm it, right? But it's up to NACOC to know say is it that the owner of the product aware? Is it that aware and now say well that is the investigation NACOC for currently. And like I said, they arrested the owner earlier on Saturday. He has been released. They have arrested other people and investigations are still ongoing. Wait, say, I'm not supposed to hear this news, Oba. I vividly remember Goodest Music Power and the ex-super guy. I don't know who you are talking about. I beg you. Wait, say, if it were the manager of a Momo joint, his name, Kofi Ghana, would have been in the news by now. This even shows the issue won't reach anywhere. Concealing his name is even a serious crime, allegedly. Well, we say they can't give the name out because of the so-called name Big Man. Shaking my head. If it was a normal person like Abu Cheka, like he has been handcuffed, this won't go anywhere because we all don't know the person involved, so he can pay and be freed anytime. Don't worry. When I become a lawyer and this case hasn't gone anywhere, I'll revisit the case. So don't worry. Okay, for now I'm not a lawyer. So don't worry. We say I will always stand by assertions and intuitions. The riches they flaunt are not from the business they claim to do. They just wash the monies in the system, a step at a time. By their deeds, they will be known. No settings. In the end, the amount for will be Kisa Grok or comment section. But with Maya, and they be an interesting question, right? Okay, post activity now. Would Maya say the brand got no name? Delete and post again. Of course, brand new name. Brand new name, right? Brand no our name. Let's see, this breaking news is bad for business. I don't know what business he's talking about. But then, hey, I goes is 24. I mean, like I said, I'm a prepare Gary soakings. What you say? And just in the by see I cry ice water and I'm a dear Gary by this time. And I know. Which match I do a comment section? Gary be go. What's that Gary? Because I won't know. Yes, sir.
One of the major we are seen in this over here is to reconcile the party. Say, Kwambe never faswa. Omo no mo ne nya adwen omo ni na fa no ye betwe omo aba na omabeka ho na ye nyina ye adwuma in the spirit of that even omo abesra no kra no abebo na baso no we are sure so betun anamo akọ omo so
any kwan say end ho
oh there be yes we no if you betu I breakfast we kra dey amo oh there be chen na omo aye but obi so say onya untumi nya na hwe you never chen but it should show that fatherly posture na yentumi anya nkoso but you see the account be on say election also no issues are memu bebre so a untumi gaze me buofu ebe o yas won win but yensisi so na me nti buofu say dey and say this all delegates on akobo so na me nti ba ne say dey ba ya
who be here so the joint statement beba omo pledge
support so at least they omo gina home omo kasa mo bia tie so na me na nti hu ise da hia papa de omo ye is enough say all start ayen the campaign so they obetumi akomo na so ene bebre akọ obetumi decide say or ye breakfast meeting with them which is also allowed you understand menjini say yen or say yesuso so bebre sa eno ano ya yewi na yentumi enko yenim na omo I was say to me they can particularly supporters no there are some few revelations in this campaign na I can even single out a bit say Kwesi Kwarteng for instance communicating at that level no I think that is there was a part you know ankasa ehwe say kwambe na ebetumi I'm making use or benefit of him. Yeah, I think that he did extremely well under extreme conditions. So na easy.
So our master, I was na say adwuma Ministry of Education. Na okojina no atwe ho. Na still no utimi kan dey so okay.
Say utimi yes also because the master no said that yes me anyway. But I think he did well. It's not easy. Over on the side of Baumianko Fonsa, this time Miracles also did good job. Now you know the government issues and so from Agyapong Kroma Samia Uku Cabo Jumomudi ya na chese koyi papa o hwe Ken side na gaiji money you know I think that these are people if you dey o ka se member with them these are people the party itself must identify them
okay
na yensha baby wa me no ma akasa
okay
anya me campaign pebet I think that they are asset to our party. She'll be to say Solomon Osui. That's why baby or one in the man. It's communicating very well. Oh, yeah, honor. They before when you modo.
Not to me,
today be out galam say no nigga Akufo-Addo kunto kwada. Say name my papa hold the modo crano. Yeah, I said that but look at how well he's doing. Somebody I will say yeah,
but now preferred candidate.
Me. Obviously, I is electoral commission. The TBA Obetuaba into our party Ottomano. Then you do obey to me.
I cannot.
Yes,
but the
for me, they'll be saying answer Ben Naka over 7 days. They'll be saying answer Ben. Said they'll be able to say 2 years on J. Abba. So they said they'll be able to say as on J. Abba. Because you see, not only because the person be contested for national chairman, Entina, I decided to stay back. But as former national general secretary, you know, who was Sudi, because one managing party, you know, managing party at that level, so you are expected to say problems by party, you must be part of one more on the Buana. Yes. Now also called join here. Now fi assemble we then okay to me I can be. hardly will you see general secretary at that level. Because we could do it, could do it. Ready to be our the support. The TBR what the direction to be boon and need chenko for all the channel. I know they are normal, so never change. Do we with us why not be boon and need But by and large, it went well. The messages were quite okay.
Jobs on that to the emotion.
I know, dear, you see. I know some of them are normal, you see. And then we must also understand, say. Media no nyatiti media na GBC pena oho nti dubo ahe oya campaign or call search roduma se de okan wote daddy dubo oya campaign or call tamale de okan wote enne no nipa ne gina ho onkasa wie o be na ya the video from abrochira brel say the whole kind ni you understand we should also appreciate where we are enuti na ama eya na niema ni bi no ase ebro so bebre sebi Baumia or contest election. Other four, so almost nene ya adrian, some common contest. Omo ne ya adrian to omo contest no. Omo contest na on kan de be Baumia de.
But there is a competition of ideas.
Competition of ideas. What do you call ideas? Obi ho no feel say.
Attempt the ideas no.
Wow, me attempt the die person. Obi ho ha. O feel say. O ideas no kwa fa so bi en so o ka say maybe I was coming, was saying, I don't know. I know they want to be or quite TNT no navigator. Or not the TNT, the opera to me.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, the NIA should say, you were to abandon baby, you know, not as you have no crane, you're 2 years resource, no. I saw Afasika or DD gross on fan to her. Won't also offer to Santa Ujana or no one at the better.
Who cracked the better.
And see, ye 2 years, Obia, who do ya, Obia, so and Becas will be, ACC will be, and now will be a BB auntie, as soon ye pe after the presidential winner, and Sir Aka.
Chama, since 1992, me dear Batuachi presidential primaries, me the moye ship to say with that, minimum dear. What departing actually pa say way send your home no mwashia and then a massa was so no bum.
As to whether we ne moye shino a relative. Okay. Others now who you know name eshi but there be an 2-horse race.
Okay.
Say omo major contenders here me no pe. So until Omo no pe ho asem na ye ka. Ohwe 92 no dey. Na nse da anya nipa mienu because na first time I ever to Agyapong obi ani mo be strength, you understand. But do 96 between J Kufuor and Edu Boy. So na me chere until na 2-horse race even though there were other contestants no. Edu 98 no. And so na 2-horse race. And no Akufo-Addo and J Kufuor. Others can home there. Baby munya lotto numbers you know. The Uber 2007 the end so now a 2-horse race. And no Akufo-Addo and Alan at that time. Over 2010 so over 2014 so and also 2-horse race. This is the time the only time nyen nipa mienu pe and omumu ehye ewo election nipa miensa nti until say abobo a yeto aba no bobo ye no obi ani ho a no betumi aka with certainty say x ne be wini ana y ne be wini ana v ne be wini even though we had polls here and there later ko bi so the polls from a poll mu na che say there so onya 20-something%, no onya 52%. Hey, na fe busa dankwa on se we nya challenge pa. O se busa dankwa say na say no. Or you posa or the bribe bitua ebe she post with your allowance for bribe.
Ti amamu a no dia wa fa hwadwane.
Let just say ya do be failing failure chira. Did they be obeka?
Right.
So when you the results or see you bribe. So the bia na you be correct.
Oh me ye chairman, but why ya dia can send be enu ya mana toma koma so say nkrofo a omo potential so so betimi aboa party na communicate well for the party no yentimi identify omo na ye ni omo nkasa no momra on board say na be ya tumi a party ni pe 2028 party ni sabetimi aka nyame nhira e wa adwena wo ma party no now ya to aba na wie na ensi ye polling station elections wo constituency wo national one wo baby adru no say Dr. Elijah Mahmoud Bawumia ba out be ka say men support to A B C D because we nza man for din be nante e bi de obi hwe ba bi ya Kennedy ahoden ko ye pa obetimi de Kennedy din akonante ba bi abrai onya ahoden pa obetimi de din akọ contest e wo ho akọ bibi a ensem fata e besan ama nchichemu aba party no den na ese party no ye den na ese candidate Dr. Elijah Mahmoud Bawumia wo ye
esisi asude abeto no so pa if you say obunani kra ibeka so obuani chi so na me kire no nti also yeah a bit more careful now signal be obeba bia no will be either interpreted rightly or wrongly but also who say nipa so na me kire no because you hoy so who say ne ho ni pe bi akobata obi ho pe beka say no ya na sa hanti I think say so you be a bit careful obi bana or be contest election the one mo betumi aye no eno na also be kan eno na also otie yes we na se me be say we na because yes a police station for nyina be ka say me na ba me na se me be contest you we na se me be contest you know no be on that anti eno so no say yehwe because yeah I see it to me a blend a team bet to me not only say yeah put two team together but team kofwa omo nim dia bet to me a support party no need to strengthen party no near the aboa presidential candidate no now wait to me a win elections a bit difficult but I don't think so because the entire for a kick against the presidential and first no a question I will be saying no feel say to na presidential candidates now no preferred candidates for the other elections and on also mindful yeah
presidential primaries are a course you have a conduct of aspirants and candidates you know obi a why former general secretary now teaching now here net to say
me gidi say me catch say emra anyhow boni ho so na temra ohonso na yebuso na means of redress ya anya ntabso a emwa. What I saw that I think that I must first of all say the presidential election committee for no Omabo Juma pa. Okay. Juma Omoboy no so any I think that they gave the candidates the opportunity to also air their views. Say bibi no montia and I think that it went off very, very well. And it's an excellent job normally. But what I saw missing, and I think that's some of the lessons that we need to learn about is that I was going ad hoc disciplinary committee as part of their work. Now, for disciplinary issues arising out of the presidential, no, and party, no,
and paying for
and use the normal disciplinary procedure, no, because the normal disciplinary procedure sometimes it takes about 6 months. Meanwhile, the entire process is 6 months. Njobi koye bibi no bi ko cho petition o cho petition na o cho come general secretary o cho national executive committee through the general secretary e was general secretary train na national executive ehia no mutu determine whether petition na nipa ne dia aba no aba wo mu ana asa aba nim sa aba nim a ye be ba atwene sa aba wo mu a na refer to disciplinary committee. The disciplinary committee no betra sia ye na adwuma the omo recommendation ba omo recommendation ba omo the general national executive committee through the general secretary also twen akopem say You be National Executive Committee and so this report na yabani endu
ni atwawi ye won say party no a party no
can the ope bia akọ baby so we lose so a obetu akọchi ni say masa oni dey ground say waboka na so we say lose a o go friend say masa na we then account we what I think was missing is that I say the inbuilt ad hoc committee, ad hoc disciplinary committee be for purposes of the presidential elections and all related issues to the presidential elections. So Bibi Sawa, they will find a way of dealing with those matters as it arises. Na Emma Asocheno Enko Chesa. I think that also encourage a lot of people to say all kinds of things.
So I don't mind so nano credit and cost party because 2000 more kakra samwa dambotwe it take bold decision and suspending the bro can't say late mails. I mean for the cry NCE one the very election general elections. But this time will be to me can be nice at what carry one faho one surobia or funny says sabi manu de sumina so chama fache me I say pay be any party.
I believe sir that this prime process no what do. So be a BB take a very long time answer it to be a punishment. And no a constitutional problem. I will say yes. I will say in Bayam focus say Uswa Jaya Unya. Sometimes no yeah we have feel say oh numbers. Yeah, penny pado draw. Once the numbers be or negative, sir. And numbers na ni na positive. Obi wa ne suban no kra man numbers ni bi eko. So, inti also yes strict in making sure say obi abe follow within the rules and regulations of the party, because the party constitution is clear. We shall take it. MCITC after 4. A kind about duties of a member of our party. Now, we shall duties now. Wow, we a party member, no? Say, maybe I mean, kind child now who say, go for baby, bu party mraswa. Omo dream say, omo pepe yonti na omo kasa. The party no so mra I was say obia etumi ediso. So until for duties of a member, I took a new constitution in you. Article 3, 4, 1 to 8. Okay. A member shall have the duty at all times to promote and defend the good name of the party. And do your party near who I said anyway the party no edim panel also obo modelu. Protect the unity of the party. Say nema obey no be my party no and shit never can abom. Be loyal and truthful to the party. Men ko kweti kwan ko it will reveal the secret of the party to go for and fetch the bibi kakra obedinchi and I say obi a own penasenti. Abide by and publicly uphold decisions of the party. We a dia say the party take a decision. Uni who kwine so be kwa bonting. Na wako kasetia decision because your decision making process for instance here be court national executive the obi a share nim and say your Bema roadmap to the next internal elections we are one obi afra say I then hear the top down and I say hear the bottom up. Do a dream be fa one? What to be true at the Brad General Secretary? And I article a cow dream. Say and take a decision. It do to make a dream. Now tonight, now you could take a decision. Now na fe by radio so mo asase radio mo na solve your problems am I na mo problems are mo to solve into radio station mo problems mo to solve the radio station na ho na uko tra na fe na uko ka si bia ye jibi ne niema na emfa so ben e na obenya wo so na me kire no maybe simple way is that party no
constitution at be ejuma
constitution and it be ejuma
but party
no
me pacho me meeting
okay party no ya call elections ya to aba ewie ya anya ade ya kwati committee no say ya expand polling station electoral area and yet nipa 5 yemfa bi enkeka ka ho ne no yakọ a friend is saying akọji atum ema yabe your new constitution nti any further decision bia be take bia must conform with the constitution yentumi nko echire nko kase ye kofa tete constitution abe ye won adwuma okay tete constitution no ekem party no so mra no internal elections no peneso say yanya top from right down national executive ni national council no omo nyomo na ye constitution omo ye rules and regulations are any constitution mo to guide the operations of the party nti omo dwen say betumi aye top down e catch am say yetumi nye net to me nyochna because your constitution no enkasa
the best that you say ho na abasoro
say na o say we nya de o say e debate kra so na be che no
right but obi ko fie na woti obeka say e chairman no na agitumi na candidate na say nipa wotu franka e de ama party no e na agitumi
a combination of the two say party nipa wotu franka no ko independent o to be winning
okay
a party ni ticket no so and the original dey aye party ticket so no so ono so ye party ni nti ye kabom na ye develop because ye be develop manifesto presidential candidate any party in the you be disseminate information about the manifesto party ni presidential ejuma ne den ne kase ne the party ni na ye
because our question is a facha me uncle facha me say ne be ya NPP for ne Ghana for binom e beti no ma bi ase ye to aba wie 2024 na bi appointed to Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia ono na omompe no ono na omompe no omompe no ona amaye lusu menim so tibia na wotibia asobi a wasom party no na wagitumi ama party no epen no ete wo sayin
ye ko contest dia asanema no beti me time ye to abama me national organizer na seat ayewo 122 per a move seat no from 122 to 169
wow
2020 throughout the world just about 5 political parties spend omo abema omo elections omo to winning a new patriotic party ka COVID intino yentumi your primary school ye no tot we to win your campaign yentumi your retail campaign in yema e sit in so te 169 to 137 your presidential candidate too but because say your contest intino as a John Boy Dunkwa na run a party no na chairman wo vice chairman mi ensa wo national organizer wo national youth organizer wo day and so yeah and it said there me and now mama see what so ati o de be chero enti competition bad ya it we can be bia who's a competition by ye near say vice president ano flag bearer ono na ayo eno betwa o ye ba constituency elections e ka say constituency chairman no ana constituency secretary no ona me lucy ye ba region e ka say regional chairman and regional way uni obi contest no sa no beka ye ba national executive so mo we on be church we go explain tire on be church musa So Obejemusa, Badifwe, Omuti. I said, no, Obeja there 137. Now they are about 87. I said, oh my betty or 70 betty. Into a part of our politics. So never because Obi on ma, non your presidential candidate, baby, I do a cry, and my lusu more as in presidential candidate. But on no contest there, what the best channel, Sarnet.
Your candidate be a bit me a case we metonwa enye yi, we metonwa ebe yi. Why General Secretary paying, organizer paying, what some were party bibri. Your candidate be a neton bay or day. Se party more to me.
They say local dynamics they are very important. Candidate are very good war. I also wear say how they call and a little go on your good.
Okay.
Until you choose a candidate who take his into consideration. Who share opponents. Candidate Ben or dinner ever and are likely or dinner beba. Opponent, and he found no fee our constituency. Opponent, sorry Ben na oko. Opponent, a Juma Ben na why. Jusha Sanema nyina na also we candidate obey to me ama ne pluses no to me negative. Now we to me enya positive no we winning no so that nti idea very important. Sometimes election alone cannot determine the viability of a candidate.
Okay.
Until that there's a need for a lot of work to be done in terms of sometimes you need to go and poach even a candidate. Because in 2003 baby even Chambers if he bimbila or call ECOWAS no. Now ye per candidate for Bimbila. Kokoma for whom Yomunina Nyabako. You were different room. Say Asantiphonic for and a fancy account for
but
and a bro in Chichemo a woman.
Okay.
A bit doss will be no so. Didn't a particular type of cocomani. You should more beside the so to form yeah. Who say nitiwu and I didn't qua a boy. No school. They go far and buy. Nah, ye de failed no. And it said, which me atene mo olusu ba ko bi and also buy. Which me at think I am for that type of kokumbandi engineer ticket so cause say bimbila constituency no any ho. It will be such a can debut a turner. Yes, can debut on ma depending on the local dynamics, no. O turner ombre. Can debut or depending on local dynamics, any opponent. Ebema o turner abebre. And this work is a tedious thing. So we said, yeah, king. Now go for hard. They were also suitable.
Yeah.
And komunyanka ye momo contest. And then tina. You go far will be a student pon we school. But yeah, researcher, yeah, and a say, yet you are no qua, never boy. So until you be near to say, Munko Tuaba. Debbie, we are sad, they will lose relations, no. Because Kaya, the year 1996, and I think it's becoming clear. As so bomb the bomb now movie called opposing the Vegina. Since you are digital, the way do every almost over the so born in Abome. Because now the Papa Moa. Because you're 87 members of parliament. You're ambo modern Bobby who buy or more aya dear. Na ya to me any constituency for na ankasa any polling station for ankasa ni ejaya so big crazy car bar no abetu na one sha 87 ye nya omobion nti djuma ho hwe the year 1996 there was 61 member parliament new patriotic party out of a 200 parliament. Yeah, was 61. A Juma mu ye in India Mantino. Yeah, 2000. Yeah, Mamma Koi. Say Juma dear, we didn't know. 61 a dear. Yeah, ma contest in Baho Monko. And no no call ya. Winnie Essenya Bibe can one it win ya majority. And they win the 2000 elections. Thank you and say oh contest Akufado or Savuma for contest no we contest now. Kabe brave follow. Because as a man you can't do 2 MP there. Ne kanya di o intro nzema you know kure
so not incredible no
I remember story I don't know whether it will be appropriate to mention the name of the MP na owo and or contest bio into the crew for no eba the whole parliament na omutwa picture parliament job 600 on the pills abronsan kakraka na cars esisi ho omoko contest no and the opponent opese obe contest no ekoye copies bebre o se won mo MP no won hu efia otimu won kran won hu efia otimu won kran what if you are Timo on cry? A cast and go, or no, I said that the taxi about. Or said that the taxi and the car in your face. Shakas, Land Cruiser, Benz, way. Picture no lie. Only almost a picture no. We see, well, the any answer, and what for Asia? What a taxi, Amano, our year work and pay. Ono so hey me wo face ani 3 more days now was the cars bebre dan ka fa me kai me cry now o se me nya work and pay ni wo fa ase ni koka ni opponent ho no mo spreading information against this MP and MP ni lusu Miss MP ni ye bitama the next election no MP no share that share the opponent na echi and omo campaign against the obetu no and the other party no e winning so me wo hoy me papa bi efe obi fie na mete now you see the very people so no uti wesi ufia utibo no na wakosi dan uni baby ti so na sanseni na oni baby ti da ote secretary you know you can't please everybody so na mechenti ehun be hia say ye nti de be ko isa ko fo waki kan sam sa bebre but de hia na say ye the clear rules and regulations because says a rule ni and a law ni ye nya bone ye the clear rules and regulations ebeba right na ye to me ayemane ayefe
enti abusuan na ne no no mesre wo se obe like no share video yi we are the comments at the comment section na say
also say on person be vice on person be mate na on person why driver and am aka say onim ni nyina so and the one thing na maka asem say ye nto no so aba said ye nipa nyina koto no so aba Kennedy will set a record na ne de sense wiem enti onim niema eda ho twen no that's the reason why enti that's why we say na chita fo nya botrema no de odi fie chire ba no me se ne de ne basati eye record eda ho say asama ye ka ne nei eye record ye nkoto Kennedy so aba obi anim se ba homia na eteki ba homia na kita mantel no for now but ye nto no so aba ye be frɛ na ka kire ne say omra ye be frɛ straight aka kire omra enti de wo ye sitie eti asɛm no wɔtena se
nemo de wanyi sitie nemo bo poso no betu na mo no se de ono ankasa nim de nya satie no okokofa enti ye kasa ye no wotie enti wotie no doesn't mean say one chutu ni chese ya asem na kan no nemo ye kasa ye no enkrofo ni mpanifo bi wa underground mutie and the spiritually na de ne da ho ana man kan na such a way say wo twitu de akọ ba o me aso say no e no ne nkrofo a o ma disappoint no enti no ye gina platform simpie no so kasa ye no edu baabi ema nkrofo trans kasa e true say ade we na so for bi dia beto abontin ti so wan hwe ni ya ebesi enti to avoid everything they say e was say oketa for himself ene di no ekita tu a wode ko me se bibi besi ama na twetu physical na die na besie ene say nkrofo mo na be disappoint no enti me kire makwa se me di NPP pani bi obewu a message some sacrificing no uza mechanic akro kire wo sama ka kire wo yeah enti kokoma some na different than the better video so kan enti adwuma no ene say de ye ho adwuma say ensi nye say besi na chese ya ben so bi tu ka so free concrete na okra se nyame bo me ho ban de me concrete bedu na so manya nkwanhia na se bibia me ko bedu osumdua me de aseda be manyame na obi so kra se nyame me ko akra ba bo me ho ban na de okoba ye no ba ko no okoba se bibia ensi no ana de okoya accident ne tie ko paye no one de na miracle de ne de bibia ensi no ana ye miracle na nyimo nya de ne tie paye na de ne tie paye ne de ndie nyame antimi am protect no ne mo de nyame protect no ayo obi a okoba du osumdue ma asem na ensi timishan control
ere na course wo ma ba to yi
ene ma bebre wo sadam ba ya wada se ya ene ni week me kan ho nsem bebre se de obi aye bia ba besi edu sa Wednesday no obi enu a obeye bibia be fa bi na maka to wo se adwuma bi obi aye bia no e oba bi aso mense sama no se me se ba o me be de so ba be president mense sama no asem me ka to 2011 mense sama no da so ntimi nye president no obeye just 78 years so Benya president just 78 years ntini nima juma obeye etikana di no ba so wa lusu ni nyina no akwai te say El Bernard prophecy ya nkofo attacking unim say omadi matama oh yes one guy bi wa Adum TV on ye the bedroom pensem na bibi ayefa na akwasinsia something like oh I'll tell you minister for Roger sir yeah minister for Roger odi matem fucking was me ya kromfo okay me ya kromfo na me de mafu nenam na me ya wi me ni Roger ya wi and enura ne tiyeye me ga no kra me nimu no many but honorable meso sini so meso sini me mana huni pakura meye oh ene de ofuru dua na to hwe wasi meso sini so because ali me din ohun ade ba ko a me mpene se me pese ni party me din a enye bone so ma yenya medwuma for so many years me will make us say we are the masters of the game me wonya medwuma for about 28 years ali wo mi asasrewa o yeah wo mi asasrewa enakura na meka enakura na ba mu kakra yeah it me free a continuation apostle Assemblies of God and sorry me esa tetemini asana me be start ministry it is obi the only me be catch say me ya kromfo ali me ti afidie so na make so I don't want to boast myself ade bia se meka se me wo say minimum the cost me wia minimum the cross so for bia ni Ghana ha anase obeka so kura hemfo a time wo Ghana ha I tell you so for ni bia ni Ghana obetuma catch me pain say okita hemfo tell me but ale dia me nya bi da say me so for me de panimu bi ebeba me nya bi da so obeka so kura na me say me ya za me kura panifo nya titrifo Mumfa phone na mumfa marshal to say yisi former yisi boss na mumsa say me nante for so many years my phone club is an even one city da yanko ayi custom officer the whole Ghana ya mumsa say my phone abisan say me here bibi da ali mi won panifo bebre me nya me dwumam ade ba ko a me nya bida do ba me nche de betuma campaign say me de me yetitidifo nya me fa me so ye bibi ma wa na ko abeda mase me de no ene ko na me ye bi ahwe pasa woni mi da betinya ade me picture ato ho na o chem say me ni Roger ye kromfo me say be Roger be jama asam naka ba me de o say me ni Roger ye kromfo me ya hwi na me ya de fu nenam me hwi a wa de me ma ofie mesra de sama ko kasa me se ba o me ase ontimi me di president 2028 na me kasa ba o me ontimi president 2028 me se ma se me kano 2011 e wo Fox FM 2011 na smart wo ho na Captain Smart e wo ho on the interview we say good man and then any producer at that time on a guy be friend Abrampa omuna na producer at that time and on interview me say ba me so be try but na say abedi president this one 78 years asam na maka no ense said da but me friend me say now my sister finya me dwuma mu ye politician ana me say me ye politician me sunsun ni tumi anya me dia dum ye kura me no ale asem bie no ha me bie ma no be kan establish it I'm checking my records. So some bana me dia bato bonten a ensi da. Me wi me sha fa chire ma ye ho adwuma.
Ti e de na ka se ba me atwitwa wanwe.
E kana de batwitwa am. Ana me ka to say e was senior city a oye because ye betra afilian so kan yen ensam ne koi. Am what trust we say asam so no e be ye true e te so wo se ne ho so na afen so no enkofo ti asam no am ne kasa ka chen say ma onye kam na sam na ko se ne yaka ade ato ho mini one man bia panim ba o frame e ka sam we kirem say me ma o tufa ko mo chale one me kasai because prof me je wasem di ana de oka bia ye do betima ye bia na ne sha na fa na si fam kana de twitu se de ya o man na ba o timbi enti nkotra fidie so nka emfa nkwaje wodin me kasam wi one me kasam wi ka te ko na me se je hana me wra ho. It is no. Nem mo die na wo se ye adwuma empanifo so ne kasa say na ye de abetudwa. And asam so koi. Asam no koi. Asam no koi. Eti me to mu se. O ya me hu se obi mu se ababa mu se akotwe picture na tagi e di matem. We have di matem na nkofo de sanyinam so oh. Na me ko we ko de no me emu mabam. Now I wonder why say Prophet Bernard Becker say, "Oh, you're sorry about the prophecy of the Yama." Now NC. Well, who not then clear? Kennedy will still lead the NPP party. No. Me nyanya so pacho. Hey, I didn't so pacho. Nyame say.
Who defend the prophecy?
Yeah, nyame say. Nese Bible na bi asiwom. Bebre. Yon come say bebre sisi Bible ma up to ne. Bebre su am I up to say me no kasen come say bebre e wo Bible ma am I na say nyame ka so ko say Sodom and Gomorrah ananya on na kai o se me ko say Sodom and Gomorrah okoy na Abraham sorry ginai e ko predict enti se wunya nipa be 30 a wo be say nana o se me say no o se ne me ma nipa 30 me ma nipa 40 o se me nipa 40 dia me say no e ba ya be si nipa 5 a buyer be see 5. Yes. Nyamina yesum no nyame timi sisana dwene at any time. E to betime hu asem naka. Enti na ofise mbara bi oso betena wo se Kennedy mefa de na na. Enti obi aye na dwuma. Enti alon last de oye adwuma ni yie no. Na wi ni ye and in the realms no obi anim se Kennedy de e da homa no. But ba me antra se de no o trust ba me so we di vice president. A onim kwan o fa so a oba we ni eni sunsun ni tumi a ofam ene ne ma odi kura ya odi betena akonye lachi e do fi so be jan sa say Kennedy mam take to control over him on tiase enti no underground no adwuma bi ko so sunsun sem bi ko baby enti say Kennedy na ntimi ama we ni no nche say Kennedy ntimi bedu brebi me say asema me kan mun ko so market to say Kennedy be lead NPP ba omia will never lead Baumia will never lead this party.
Better than Bomabusa.
Say one na bambabu.
The leader of the party.
Baumia bambabu.
He's not the leader of the NPP.
And just omu krani ye. Just omu kra Baumia ye because Baumia me say as my can last year our radio stations me so. Say there's near maybe the home no a bad thing. Say onye sa adwuma na ontimi da. Baumia nye save one. Onye save one. Na that save na onye ninti a bad thing. Me say kala de bia yento no so aba o. Yento no so aba. Oba be take control. O do ma o ha. Yento no so aba. Ma so grant interview bi on the KSM. And was say when you be a new year say oba bia mu da. Enene. Na ma twi video na me hwe. Enti officer say 2 3 amade enti na so trust obi abiem. So on trust obi anymore. I want abra bomu biem. Efri da ohun se ono an nkrofo omone nam no sa omum na disappointing no to fi se kan niam bia nkoso a nka so am pa se ka uzi Canada nkade no be was spending a lot and in rush nipa by nipa disappointing no abajo ya boka and se ba omi adwuma na e wona nim no so on try say saade no obeya me se ba omi ba be di president o my way man this wonya 78 years. The 70 years so when you say 64 into mon calculate edano so what was you say edano so what you want say baba say Kennedy take control me say yan koto ba me yi no entina El Bernard de hu ye na all your announcement no na woni the prophecy way no e ye ba ko ne say how to present. So those see casam na chere nipa no. That's the most important thing. Tise me hu say wuti achia ebi a wosanka me kan in the way say bia ebedu brebi ade weni ne beto nti be ma we si yaba. Ba say wo so ni say nipa ne bia what declare aba no ade ama no say na bia na bibi wa chira. E wo say nipa no onye nwiye. E na bia wo so ho de ekura wo ne ntimi nya say adwuma ne mfama no. Etu be declare ne ne ba wo chere bia obi a ho de so chen. Tinkrofo kraba omiansa no no mo ho de ne omode ye adwuma no eye ba omia de ne da ho in the realm say okosroba form obefa me say boss for interview me catch on pese Kennedy so o stand for maku kura onya e was omo eye omo ye mu onfa
abusafo akasi madunum na no mienu abo mo amosomfo Ali Dan Kambare menua Prophet Ransford Odru and a bon common. Me the nipa, me true nipa, me young and nasi nyina. Ko beneden komo and echo virus or say Canada be treat you live. I am Crawford the pa, Canada is one treat you. Nchimuno no de man. Sebi, de wa bodam and enwene. Na ye kushia ABN foko e meeting. Me se na na wise ade na dwene nye oba on tenase bejina wa di nsɛmfon ne ya kan washa de say ya international kɔle na komia so no nya safo a obetena se obena tanfo ne ewu nti obetwitwi na so kwatwe etuo so no Ghana mmerem no etia na wura ne kyerɛ mu sɛ ya no wo wiem nti ya kan asɛm a en ade ba kwa na efe sɛ dawe enne na watwe na wotia no kasa na Kennedy wura Kennedy onua ketwa Rafael Ponsotia tu sori ya no betina ko yanso no say ne brown ni tu no tutu kurada it is a bia na free work no mo yo mo meka who knows now ne speech ode mai crofo say papa yi ase obubuani be fro no di abo atotoa na wode wapra atena so oni na kofa bo ni bi bi de say dey pa na ma papa yi kan say na tita fon kom akomoto na mbere e wo mo ni o te speech
Mathieu also say on person be vice on person be mate na on person why driver and I can say onim ni nyina so and the one thing na maka asem say ye nto no so aba said ye nipa nyina koto no so aba Kennedy will set a record na ne de resense wiem enti onim niema eda ho twen no that's the reason why until that's what we say na tita for nya botre ma no do di fie chire ba no me se ne de ne basati e record a ɛda hɔ sɛ asɛm a yɛka ne nnɛ ɛyɛ record yɛnkɔto Kennedy so aba obia nim sɛ Bawumia na ɛteki a Bawumia na kita mantle no for now but yɛnto no so aba yɛbɛfrɛ no ka kyerɛ ne sɛ ɔmmra yɛbɛfrɛ no straight aka kyerɛ sɛ ɔmmra
yɛadwuma bi ma mɛnora mayate bisa me sɛ me ana mempɛ sɛ mɛkɔ in case number 1 no aba na ɔmakɔto number 1 ni hɔ no mu a ana o show no interest a ɔmo kɔ primary bi ma na asɛ number 2 na ɛkɔ ɛyɛ na nyɛ na so sɛ fɛre panto obetumi agye aka bia so but here interpretation din pa meto tipo bi a constitutional lawyer na de ɔmo nya yɛ be chia tifo ɔmo constitutional ne sɛ lawyer Dominic Brinyanom ɛne lawyer Kwame Adoma Pianom wɔn de ɔmo hyɛ inside hɔ ti ɔmo betumi akyerɛ sɛ ali so nya adwuma bi ma aboagye na ɛba na yɛ kɔfa nipa afraba ebi ana aboagye understand you hunu ade because de obega fana ba mama yanse wa sorry na eminya nyu nyi de o ko mbe ha me
asai on say sa program we nkofo so afa so edi matam yedi watam bi
me una mo na ha mo anya wo na abeka me adwuma me yi me ntie do bi de minim se me ye bi aye me tie omo amesum omo so adwen but nya bi omo beka na me mefa obi tumi fo na ya me de kamede ho ateni ne me ne matwam ho mo na fe na mo ni wide mo da mo pe coach che me de matwam ho me and my colleagues radio presenters cry from say hey massa I said massa what's your problem I'm dealing with content my god me pe content you know me pe content you know I'm not connected I'm connected me de me attend in there wo you know what there because me de me share what they say helmet na me o matini na nya me foku
now on say we are innocent calling me to come for that interview no and to the stand say me na mabe kamasem and akwani kasa no mushe kure kasa wonso kanasem no o say ai wo na wote wo na wo ye sa wo so sa asofo nkurasefo no so
nyansani no wo so kuru ma
wo so asofo nkurasefo no so
and asofo kuru fo so right ba no so asofo kuru fo so me sha dwaye na mi dware no me ne me reda mpaso ma bodam ko enya aworo ye abodam fo agu emi pele ti na se nyansafo mi no fo mo awia eti se me ye dimi fo kwase ampani na me so mo kwase afo no so a onu nyansani no o so nyansafo asofo no so content forget about them we obi won mo da bia no wa fa no wantwi a onya content ye mu bi me say ye tutu from the ashe okura omo tie no discerning when you listeners me tie phone tantan when omo tie me nye ni padodo na me pe discerning people are team no matemase it is obi intimi value stories no mfa be ntu nse ne nye say na da bi opese any one way man say ni pa no onye me listener ha me pe obi a wo pa de asua na wo we ni ma no esu na dwen nya so obi obefa asem hook line and sinker me utifia say kura nya obi a na wodan nu a ono ya adwen nkwasasem kura otia okeka and to ni pa can production team ni pa no can production team so kan kwasa oni team me nua mam no me adwuma nyina nti wo mo tie achi obebrebe no mo pe content no udi matemo wanu matemo apetampe eti wo dia wo dwon dia na me de me da
ali akomo ne me o
yo mo labi nya akomaso live
enti so obi tinchen na sa akwasi hwan no akwasi siyasa se komo na demia on fa machi no onya inquiries kakra
kom ne no onya adwuma ye
me metime employee no yeah metime employee no me wo TV station me esa Ghana ha it make me employee no
yawo media network bi won wa we are presenter na usifam attack personality we twon sign no matter your talent you twon sign etinam se men ko ho why obi an ko fa so no gather the news gathering obi an ko fa so hia ne de me ko am fa so me gather the news no enya wo wasem wo fe enya wo da gida de here jametie enem nya nipa afro beba aso de obi so be ko ma bi what's your problem
Ali Sunday Mrs. Santibiane Shebre kwesi adanopa de opese ohunu se na brabo opese okona nim 2026 on share me Sunday morning Mr. Tia sorry 8 o'clock na mapon 12 my number is 0243 0243 02 04 24 0243 02 04 24 me number no
Raden kan
amen
Raden kan pa eti share Bernard Nkran
me ma wo se so for makwata mu nyina bompa ma no but the meka ne say so wo can be na say eno si ho na eno nkyere say wo ye fake o you are not a fake prophet and I make us say nyankopon asem mu no bebre siye into on fa sa nyame asem no de siye na on fa nchichi no ho because so yen de end omo hwe o content na wo de baaye no either say you good obi amfa this a bad and o man mu odi ne beko akiri say me ba benefit me bra ne maka nsem bebre baada na ba ko ha na me beka say Kennedy betwituo na won tweye no honko na yafa eko akiri eno brochefo nyina fresh of ye follow pa but Kennedy betwituo ndie wa antwe eno grade you see obia kasa asem no Bernard when any cause was o trust for 1 year mom o mana ba mu muda na nyo no nkwa ne nipa wa hye nkom ana wa kan bibia because in the Bible na kasa ye di akire no Yesu Kristo na nkasa ye di na chi no mpo o ka asem wa bra still ensi ye enti mo mana ba mu on hye ne hunkunai
Mirasi o se odi mate what say
akwasi nsia ona ya adom bedwam anopa adom TV video no ha me pato video no ha ai said na jumara ani ona ya adom bedwam adom bedwam morning show empese no odi kan ye program no ha
say the program say ni program de enye maso
ona yesa program adom bedwam empese mu ona ye
menyo sure say
akwasi nsia
menyo sure say krakumenti etie no say odi atem
akwasi nsia na ye
me boss krakumenti ona tete me eti me attack presenters eti krakumenti o tie say o attack obore o monyo adom nya adwuma sa o content eti o say den it's okay, bro. It's okay.
Be a Roger be church. Me ne beko.
Jana life.
Say me person wo kire ma de kro mako wia. Also this are chrono tag me say wo ye kromfo.
Pe wo de wo ne wa bo patare wo nya din age. Jana man nko nso be fa no. Leave me alone. Pulim. He said the idea na say if you cannot beat them, you join them. Well, now we are on social media. I say, I don't want to believe that say what a hot workers ask them. And come on, a corporate here, almost so issue. I'm so much I didn't go home. Will be content. What's your problem? We are social media presenter, and now we are corporate. Masa.
Medasali.
Medasali. Oh, progress also. Channel life.
Me gusto so.
Master Jesus Quran. An opportunity to be able to turn up the show say or tell you when you be the show this one. Or some so be in no cry. More now follow coffee now see got him. Leave him alone.
Right.
At the right time or no be say I was so now about prostrate. Yeah, they say your microphone. And it'll be a microphone be a sound no explode. I'm telling you honestly. I would never mind my words. Yeah, you cry a microphone. You move breathing. Just some mic in my area near Tiase. Near refuse be a Tomae, a chamber no bitia. He made the man not to me for some microphone powerful. But also managing microphone. I may be a firebrand pa. Forget about my phone. Me make a sound, me know, but me dream with him. Me feeling penny nakanasem. Except for to make control. But me mean you told you my men need my cap. Some of Banamo Combanamo. And you know, what's in me every day?
Brahim, my cancer maybe. Badana Baku Hana, me back cancer Kennedy betwituo na won twe no. Honko na yafa ekwa
abusuafo na hwefo ye mamu nyina makwa aba e de ba channel so ha sei eye solid tv midin e de shaibu lasisi mesel so Agyebre na hu manim ache enkomo ofie na me de ebrel amanebo a me de nam ne eye miero de edi kan Honorable Kennedy Kwame Akumpeko Japan edi atudwa say amantem dunsia ni nyina no wo ba be set up factories edi amagana for empenin say aboa once na onihwe no oposa nsem wo ye na adwe so be Ghana mampeni wa biebie nnwuma no ema Ghana mabuna nya biaye na se wa me Ghana mampeni a de na ho ode be so no wo se opese wo ye na nimanimu ya na emabu no agu abonte mu ni adwuma ne edoso de etoso mieso eno eye Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia enne oye NPP ye Frank Akurani no ete ho a woje enchia na empanifo bi ekopie ne naso a waje microphone and wo kan nsem se enam se ne ye ba beko NPP primaries no enipa bi kwampa na o mu free Asante Mantam ano ebepe Asante Mantam efree na ebusa de Dr. Bawumia wo ya Asante ni enne wo ba kire manfo a o mu free Asante Mantam no mo mu free a and some way afobri na man na no pay anwumre me de ba be so mo se akwansosem se hu mani mu acha me krete corner me nko ba bia afe na me ba be soja no edi asu omo so omo fi se e bia shaibula sisi no me no omo atemu me be kajagum me twam ho aba me ba enkomo bebri ewo fie
but na se de na etie no na ye nipa enum na ye pie ye nipa enum ye nyina na obia so na nida Ashanti so enyesa na obia ni nida Ashanti so ebi mu ka say omufiri Ashanti by force enyesa omufiri ho ebi musu ye tete me ha enyesa members of parliament wo hona bibia na obia ka but na obia so nim se media mi Ashanti ni Asante hene ne bape kupe enyesa enti more seriously that's the ekono na ehuhu ye hu kakra but na ye nim se de ebeko Asante region no na ohwe obi anini edaso ye hwe se de ye be ye no chairman no
abra fa nchi asonko ema ya hwefo ene atiefo mo ebre ne brebia no monya ho ehwe no enchi asonko enkoma mo menchia ma de nyina papaya na menchia me maame Christian Agyapong ene Honorable Kennedy Kwame Akumpeko Agyapong menua ba Faustina ana afi so da akonta ana sister Fia Frimpoma of Canada ene ahwefo nyina no ebre ko beje bre na mabomu nyina mudin na enkomo bebre ewo fie ye ba bedi nkomo aftermath of the new patriotic primaries na ekoye no meka se be na wotwe ene enakake na Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia wono ana emerge as winner na me ba bedi hu nkomo kakra e de achew na afese ensensemi so a ene nanamu ana afese no anamo a Honorable Ken wo tu no me ba abedi hu nkomo na yen free asam na ase Honorable Kennedy Kwame Akumpeko Agyapong ebra no obo ntoa kanche party delegates se wono wo ba no oba bebiebie nnwuma ema Ghana fo anya adwuma ye wo se ewi ase nipa wani monyam ene wadwuma oye oba na oni adwuma ukunu emu o makra mpo no ani die se fata mo mfama na ye be ma kwa de bobo wo chance ni pia na tenten ti se de ato table so ento ne wo ba e the industries e de aba oba the factories aba ema Ghana mabunu anya biaye Honorable Ken eton sa message we ema ne to Ghana fo nyina atim ewi achi no na Ghana fo na omukon endo politics omukon be do politics because of a certain Kennedy Agyapong omo free say kwan person or the Ghana efa no the way ye betimi agye ye ho ade free sabi ye say independent bastard that so it depending on emnofo chance mu ye kwoto aba 31st of January 2026 no na MPP delegate sabi ebi mu adamo ne honhom etom ebi mu sabi subanpa enu omu say omo di omo mpe adwuma ya afebon na emom no omo pe 1000 cedis 2500 sika omo tafre alewa edi twi omo techema so eno no wagina che kwa akoto aba en omo koto aba wieyem Ghana for so ama MPP delegate atia ase eyo opposition no ma renew no eyo opposition no ma men can say o ma extend no so a vote against Kennedy Agyapong during the MPP primaries it's just like say you've just extended opposition na about 20 mu wie no yenya nipa bia omo be kire die nti a omo campaign ye edema Honorable Ken ema MPP for Kennedy Agyapong ho ye omo hi for NDC for Kevin Taylor project Honorable Ken NDC for na project Honorable Ken said the MPP delegate beka so onyamo na mba yi candidate amaye ewi achenim na fidie we ye omusumie no na NPP delegates akwa akotom na the MP for Adansia Krofo kwa babonte de babetu dwa say with Kende Japan no na eye den e de mo in 2028 but Dr. Baume de eye cool chop 77 peduasa say I show 10 naira onkofa player wato apache emfa no kongo face omo ana de nam na honorable Ken ne nsama no woka no enam say oyo obi a oye talk na do ntino honorable Ken said ye na obetim de oman sikaye obetim de oman tumi aye no se saade no kwa amamu a wono no kan say se nyame ma ne nkwa ma ne di 70 years a obe bro factories na guo me no ka say honorable Ken they own the biggest coal store in Africa, the most advanced and sophisticated steel plant in West Africa is being owned by a Ghanaian person. That is Honorable Ken Kwame Akumpa Agyapong. We acquired 30,000 of land, 30,000 acres of land at Wadakru, and another 30,000 of land, another one so at Adidome, and our 156,000 acres of land and so Wajin and so was Sege or Babe cherry tomato in the account. And now we call Central Region or Czech so yeah, Babe see the largest pharmaceutical industry in West Africa. And no maku numa yem producing in West Africa, in Africa, no, yeah, Babe produce Ghana, yet being owned and also partnership by Honorable Ken Kwame Akumpa Agyapong. Now, Honorable Ken said, Oba Abe started with 16 factories across all the 16 regions. Mantem biabenya 1 factory. Na itima boa e de pushi Ghana mabuna omuni adwumaye ma dodo na adwumaye. Na Honorable Ken factories Oba be bie no. Edia ana eka ede ache Ghana for edia na eka ache youth for edia na eka ache politician for one de eka ache Ghanaian youth ni say wo ye Ghanaian youth ani da so ba say papa bi e fa ne Kende Japan ba be bie benwuma amonya biaye ade eka ache politicians ni ene say one all politicians are not the same politician bi wo ha wo se me paade we se me saka meye we ne nsakra kampo a wonye ba Kende Japan say ne nsakra mpo anka no eya de obeye ede ama Ghanaian youth no and to okwa de obetima ye oye ede ama Ghana youth ana de e kan che Ghana for sem wo ye Ghana ni a nyagidie se Ghana no with a certain leader like Kende Japan no ebeye and to da no abompa se nyankopon ye pese Kende Japan be Ghana mampani e kwanya Kende Japan be fa so be Ghana mampani ye nhwe ho de enima se Kende Japan ye Ghana mampani and to ye Ghana ni a ukoda abompa se nyankopon ma Kende Japan me Ghana mampani e kwanya Kende Japan be fa so be Ghana mampani ye nhwe ho se NPP na de ne bebo se hwan na de ne bebo se CPP se PNC se hwan yo but meme wo gidie se Kende Japan still lead NPP and become Ghana's president na eniema pa NPP ba bia na ye timi de ban Kende Japan e de fa kese e de aba na mami ka che na adan kwakufu ade se nyankopon nhira no nyame ntua ne ka se na adwuma sitie sa kokura bone wo utifie na fa phone e fra appointee se me anto aba ma Kende Japan na num kasa nye de o ka che appointee se Kende Japan e be president ya wo use appointee president Kufuado se Kende Japan na num kasa nye da Kende Japan man ne ohun ni Ghana e tanya Kende Japan nya ni nyane eye se na o difa no wa Kufuado sa tam no na obusia for guy bo che da akom asante bedi atuom ene o namfufuo mu nyina se wo onye ni papa Honorable Ken o kan se manfo asore etiawa ono obe supporto na Honorable Ken etanya wonya between Kofo camp ene wo na nado camp result na nado wo na wiase sika enye bibia sika enye bia na nyankopon ka obegu anim ase hwe president Kufuado hwe nim gwata de akwot na fie hwe Ghana for are not even proud say we had a certain former president Efena Kufuado nyame ama Mahama wrongs our year no nyame ama an opportunity to come and rewrite it well who Kufuado who nyasa opportunity that now you will go down as the worst president Ghana has ever produced who Kufuado nkwa ana ultimate time omansika more than 51 million Ghana cedis ekotu amena South Bay National Cathedral Kufuado wadwuma no who Kufuado nkwa ana Ashanti region to over 1.8 million man now be try 80s wanya hwe in Ashanti region wo yere Rebecca Kufuado kwampo na wono no anya president kwampo ebesi Becca Foundation conference yare Becca Kufuado should tell me adia Ashanti region Becca na akwatre fie say ana me anto awoma Kende Japan ya anto ama no de open Fredjuna Sanefa Nante akokora bone na obi ehun so na ya akokora bone me say President Kufuado ade o de ken de Japan ma hu se Nebukadnezar ene Kufuado Nebukadnezar ene Kufuado Nebukadnezar mu promo ene Kufuado na mane ken de Japan nya ebi efre Kufuado they say your former president you know why pe esi ano you know why pe onya president ena mum so me hwe mum so me se na we so hwe kese hwe de obeya Ghana obefa dollar from 4 cedis to 17 no ba wumia ene mahama mo so wasana hwe de oye dollar hwe de oye dollar de wasana dwanfunu no hwe de oye dollar ana odwan ya ote ase no wode ne baba wumia e ma dollar to 17 na me no me papa ke de Japan sa me tunufo na so obetie me mafutuo ebi ono omfa ma dwenche ebi omfa na meka cho honorable Ken say factory say obebe NPP delegate ai na nim hancho ebe gina wo say opa adwuma ya ka che ne say he chose D-Day money over jobs and Ghana for na omna omo troso Ken de Japan ye fa adwuma ne ma omo aye meme shaibula sisi mafutu aye me akade mbe bat menye Ken de Japan on the other party no on the Ken de Japan do party ni chena party ni do no to be call to understand say ne mass school fees or be topic up e dey ama NPP e be wi a NPP for say Ken de Japan e ni paboni ni ti factory say be bia dey ka pa ma me ko head ba ko na ma me fa adwumayefo no na ma me fa adwumayefo no because me hwe message honorable Ken no de nam ene de na ba omi ade nam abo oni dua nyame ne pra no na abo oni dua e fragbera abu shafa fe de yenko the topic of the day Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia na ye poyempo woni NPP Franka Kurani omo se nyina ye campaign man ye be campaign so ama no ama na baba we ne Ghana mampani no ejibre no na Dr. Bawumia ye ko campaign me ka chia mo se boni bia ekoso NPP mu bia no sa abronya di Ken de Japan ko ka di Ken de Japan atem Bawumia na fragbara ninti e na wode niema ekatakata nyam se meboa okọ ni krom eko use ni krom kasa e kan se sticker eya danko oye rabbit oh ene ya anti ana Ken de Japan ne kasa ana koka mu edi atem no mo apo mu ni atem mu nyese ni ato abana wie ana oye fragbara na Dr. Bawumia nko na 2023 onya 61% na 2026 onya 56% was 56 no eso che 61 no Dr. Bawumia nko na dollar sa ukofa no 1 cedi e de ko 4 cedi wa bon na afa de 4 cedi e de ko 17 cedi dia oya ade ano nam ana manfo ba an wo hwe sa 56% na eso che 61 no na region bia constituency bia to na ba maame ana ode na ma ana si ande si mbie campaign mu ti dia ona ma wa so so na wabo no women organizers mo ma chia me ni aba youth organizer no ma chia no enti o ma chia se beti na bia the month of the year of 2026 no because omu wi a disabled force be kwa akọchia no omu wi a na bia omu na asara fo na akọchia no omu wi so a NDC fo so a omu chia se omu convert ba akọchia ti sa na 2026 ya wi na 2027 afa no nam agrizo fo so na nam abuzumfie sa so na afa de 2028 ne ata akọ na so obawe na wawe ne obawe so anu wawe ana group bi ekwakwa chia omu ana Dr. Bawumia say ono beji microphone akasa ehona Dr. Bawumia eba be che say o hwe the vote onyan na Ashanti region na ebo na adwene ntiase so na ye eba be kọ no na emanfo bi say wo mo na omo ye Asante fom so Asante mantem ebi kwa because of elections no omba pre-free Ashanti region ebi kwa so e kire say na omo ti Ashanti region na say akutia anim niwura mame kan sem cho omo na omo so free Ashanti region aduchum free Ashanti region the no say one free Ashanti region so ya titi Ashanti region no e Ken de Japan ana the oba pay ha free so e ban na champion o kan so free offense so ai nim so free kwawu ana ondam ana o kan sansem no na the me pesa munya musua de an say Dr. Bawumia on se sign ya to aba wie frag bed also kan party bom no wonam and now casting insinuations against opponent. At this point, here. Now, Dr. Baumia, on your politician, obegu NPP. Sir Dr. Baumia, your politician, pa. Mosoria, Anna, where ya kwacha Baumia, Kende Agyapong ko. Kwaka Jimmy for the T-shirt box iron we. And then, one a number of welcome people into Dr. Baumia house. Kwaka to me the Kende Agyapong attempt. Na Kende Agyapong enko Baumia fee. Na Kwaka win and welcome on. Is it good? Sir Dr. Baumia so do NPP. One person come aboard so pen baby intra. So that people are Kwaka church or Manaso can have good heart to campaign for Dr. Baumia. And Dr. Baumia na no sad. Na oma start here DB. Oma start here DB. No man we ya. Adam me can say me say sa top down approach no. Aye no. Ebia the purpose here am the buy no. Mubenya. Ebi some you end up doing something here worse. And the worst is yet to happen. Tie. Dr. Baumia to and a chama won to me. A year in the campaign man. Chama won to me kwa cha Dr. Baumia say chairman. National chairman. A chairman Dr. Baumia has chosen won to me to lead the NPP national. And now call constituency regions now. Oba Ashanti regional group be a press conference. Omni Dr. Baumia and a call nakana. Omni Dr. Baumia by a frabella. Until Dr. Baumia call for chairman Kokofu, former Bantuma chairman, former NPP member of parliament for Bantuma. Now Onumbra make by coalition. No win as the Ashanti regional NPP chairman. One fight against Coca. Now I want to sound this warning. I want to advise Dr. Baumia and the campaign and say, Coca in Ashanti region was an institution. Coca in Ashanti region is an institution. At say education ministry, works and housing, health, defense. When you touch it, you touch Ashanti region. Now, Dr. Baumia percent the numbers in 2028 and drop pa one kofa kokofuni so ombabe contest Coca. Omusa chama would be brow brilliance and the third time or win. Okota money making machine. Bullion van BC Park. Voice of the BT Coca. Near to about you, Marco press conference. Say, Mode, Chairman Kokofu. No, quite Bantman, as he say. Aqua Moto Betiano. Also, a general secretary be a D. Moman and Quay. Moko say, yet the neighbor Ashanti region. Now, Metia said, Baby, who and say, almost say, Chairman Kokofu, and Baba Toa. Wound to me any pass, wound to me the Paba or Ashanti Mantema. And the Paba. Chama wound to me the Paba or Ashanti region. So wound to me by man. Ashanti region votes from 70%, about 64%. Ayanepa. Wound to me Ashanti region NPP new office. Ayanepa. Wound to me at the Ashanti regional chairmanship office. Actually, from the first time a sitting chairman of a political party in Ashanti region. Yeah, I boss Iroko, BNI, court. Where ya nepa? I am at Waso in Ashanti region. Now, national, I heard them. I will meet wound to me there. Now, Quaka now, Modo Mosaho Canon, and a person of Motia says, now, Dr. Baumia, I didn't know what China soon. The above Iranian soon. Now, don't be Rura and internal elections or so. And now, what the flag, no? The party for share himself, who bet man when power in 2028. At the Akufa the year 2007, 2018, now we have been. Mean to me, when you're and I'm going to way. And now, of course, you will be just south. Secretary, so yeah, Juma Edema Kende Agyapong. And you know, young Conco to Nams, regarding Yankopon. Quatania, or quay your semi commentia. Oh, quite a one chia. No, be out of Exia. Dear Moye, 2028. Dear Moye, 2028. You. Now, Dr. Baumia, officer or more Boawa. Momunyo, yodium. Now, quite 2028, about who you at 8.2. Ubanya 28.2, that's MPP. Yabamo Ben MPP 1. Unim MPP 4. But I don't do why. na do no na do na wo ye wo say wo vision sabi onye nyame Rollins mo kwa me fa o man etran so soja bible so o ka obi nka bi o mo jaga na okọ na nya wo democrat na etimi ka bi kire wo enti anamo Dr. Bawumia tunu clearly chese ono on pay unity now on pay unity so you cannot win power without unity and the entimi we support Ken we here support Brian and ye kwa mo candidates you go and give them candidate. By 2028, we will also give you a showdown. Abusha for me did the shy will assist a share out from. Meno Kase Honorable Ken only the biggest coal store in Africa, the most advanced and sophisticated steel plant in West Africa is being owned by a Ghanaian person. That is Honorable Ken Kwame Akumpa Agyapong. We acquired 30,000 acres of land at Wadakru and another 30,000 of land. Another one so at Adidome. And our 156,000 acres of land and so wajin and so was again or babe cherry tomato in the account. And now call Central Region or Czech so yeah babe see the largest pharmaceutical industry in West Africa. And no maku numa yem producing in West Africa in Africa no yeah babe produce Ghana yet being owned and also partnership by Honorable Ken Kwame Akumpa Agyapong. Now, Honorable Ken said, Oba Abe started with 16 factories across all the 16 regions. Mantem Biabenya, one factory. Now, Timia Boa Edia Pushi, Ghana, Mabuna, Omunia Jumaya, Dodona Jumaya. Who ye Ghana near, Didier Ghana, no, with a certain leader like Ken Agyapong, a bay, and to that no bompires and Yangu Point. Ye percent Ken Agyapong by Ghana Mampini, a quanya Ken Agyapong by first by Ghana Mampini and Shaw.
In the na Obia so many da. Asante so. Yes, sir. Na Obia ni da. Asante so. Bibi mo ka say omufiri asante by force. Yes, sir.
Dr. Bawumia, ya kwa campaign me ka chia mo say. Boni bia ekọ so NPP mu bia no. Sa abronye dike de Japan, koka dike de Japan atem Bawumia. Na frag barrel ninti e na wode niema ekata nyam se meboa. Okọ ni krom, ekọ use ni krom kasa ekran say stika ayadanko oye rabbit. Na Dr. Bawumia nko na 2023 onya 61%, na 2026 onya 56%, was 56 no eso che 61 Dr. Bawumia. Dr. Bawumia nko na dollar sa ukọ no 1 cedi e de ko 4 cedis awabon. Now for the 4 cedis e de ko 17 cedis dia oya ade. Ya to aba wie. Drag bed also can party bom no. Wonam and now casting insinuations against opponents. Adia well at this point here. Now Dr. Bawumia onye politician obegu NPP. Say Dr. Bawumia ye politician pa. Mo sorry a ana we yakwachi Bawumia Ken Agyapong ko kan Jimmy phone ti say box iron we. Enene wona ednam ho welcome people into Dr. Bawumia house. Koka timi didi Ken Agyapong atem. Na Ken Agyapong enko Bawumia fie. Na koka we na me welcome no. Say Dr. Bawumia so do MPP. One person kama board so pe na ba bintina. Say Chairman Kokofu ba betoa wuntumi ene pass wuntumi ne pa be no ya na sante mante ene pa be Chairman wuntumi ne pa be no na sante
Obi a waka enti se de ma Bawumia na se obi si aso obi a mo ha bia no 1998 se ye repeat wo mo a omo to aba 1996 e bia na mo amoto 2003 2023 yes I repeat mo se mo beto aba 2026 e bia I said, and yes, I repeat to you. And to the master, sir, I am Bawumia, and I repeat to you. Said the 40 near repeating one. Because said you probably na my back, na papa back, no more. Na sir, I did hear back no better. first tafo mobile bias aye azekine Rebecca ana mo ye emramu no ene bibia mu no na azekise opese iso ene bi na de ana na yire eso se opese Jacob ni na de aso so ebaye no ba bia na wo se ya no e wa na kokoto de tie se ya fa ko ma bo ti zuni ya de ma obi a wo ka no eti se de ma ba omia na so obi si ahye bibi de aba ba omia na ya de
tactical play.
Na the person she said man, I power ninti and the exercise. I power ninti and amaka. Saintina, Sunday the police station for the car one, not to be but we are so sweet, and they are mamaka. Mobile to a baby. They are some former executives. Cafes and made by former executives. Coming here because Kaufi not good. But I never oriented former executives. You know, we are promoting, we are it is enough. Say, I call Bambona Samusaka and your Yabby. And your Yabby. If you say, Abano Ubetu, Abano Ubetu, it's any maybe because I never talk for Namatra and Yamamu and Yashawi. Then you know, said, I be a sea yellow. None that presidential and my sea. Be a sea yellow. And a year Cassa and a man see. The man see yellow, it's like a parliamentary prime minister. I'm not sure. Eti biya mukrom fo kan ya se omu tweet scan ba do tweet scan omu san kan eti be bi mu ka kire mo se wonu mu didi a onko ya le atesa wo se atesa ayi no pre eti aye wo mu eti du ba bi kra na wo kwa koye campaign pa na wo suru eti abi a wo sa wo kwa kan ya ye wo ti ya kwa ko eno na eba omia wa ha eti wo mo pre awo kase ba omia ana ami awe na wo kwa situation ni wo